Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am in Konoha, I have 10 skill bars. Chapter 61. Master 3rd Generation. You can rest assured that I will take good care of these 3 brats. In Hokage's office, Kakashi spoke slowly after reading the 3 documents in his hand. Uzumaki Naruto. Konoha's 9 Tails Jinchuriki. The most important thing is to protect the 9 Tails Jinchuriki. Of course, it goes without saying. Uchiha Sasuke, the last survivor of the Uchiha clan, and Sasuke's older brother is also an S-rank rebel Uchiha Itachi, and he himself is a rising star with outstanding talent. Kakashi understands the above 2 according to them. But, the last Moonlight Shiyu, is there anything special about this kid? It's just creating a sword technique. Kakashi's father was once known as Konoha's White Fang, and his swordsmanship is naturally no problem. Even Kakashi's own swordsmanship is equally good, but since the ninja sword he inherited from his father broke the 860s, Kakashi has never used swordsmanship again. 3rd generation looked at Kakashi and glanced at Shiyu's information twice, as if he didn't care much in his eyes. This kid is not simple, Kakashi, you better not underestimate him. That's right, Lord 3rd generation, then I have to give it a try. A kid who created his own swordsmanship before graduation, how talented is he in swordsmanship? Hearing this, 3rd generation smiled, perhaps his outstanding talent is not just in swordsmanship. Okay, Lord 3rd generation, it's almost time for me to meet these brats. I don't know if Kakashi has heard the last words of the 3rd generation. Leave school. In the classroom, Shiyu looked at Naruto who was laying a trap. Although Shiyu wouldn't do this kind of childish behavior, it's still good to have a look. This kind of trap, do you think the picture above will fall into it? Idiot, Shiyu has no problem with Naruto's behavior, but Sasuke can't stand it. This kind of trap that can be seen through at a glance, if Jonin can fall into it, then he will still be our instructor. Sorry I'm late. Before Naruto could refute Sasuke, Kakashi pushed the door open and entered. The blackboard eraser that Naruto put on the door fell straight down and hit Kakashi on the head. This scene made the corner of Sasuke's mouth twitch slightly. This clumsy trap actually worked. And to a Jonin. I'm afraid this Jonin didn't come in through the back door. Is this your meeting ceremony? It's quite special. Kakashi didn't care, glanced at the 3 and said, follow me. Birdman looked at Sasuke intently, the pride in his small eyes could not be concealed. As if to say again, look, you said you won't hit, how about this one? This guy hasn't hit yet. Sasuke is very speechless, is this kind of Jonin really reliable? Rooftop. Shiyu found a comfortable position and sat down, and it seemed that the dream session had begun. Standing opposite the 3 of them, Kakashi asked, for a long time to come, I will be your teacher. So let's introduce each other briefly. Tell me about your name, age, hobbies, and future dreams. Moonlight Shiyu, 12, likes to eat, drink and have fun, and dreams of not having to work. Kakashi was going to demonstrate by himself first, but Shiyu rushed to answer. Gently nodded, very well, your hobbies are very good, and your dreams are great. Everyone loves to eat, drink and have fun, and everyone wants to do without work. Saying is tantamount to not saying. Naruto told Shiyu, and he was going to say it himself. Uchiha Sasuke, 12 years old, no special hobbies, no dreams, but if it is ambition, it is to kill that man. Speaking of the 2 in revenge, Shiyu glanced at Sasuke. This is the effect of Itachi's vengeance inspiration. Sasuke, didn't you see that I should say it first? Naruto was a little depressed when his words were interrupted. Kakashi is having a headache now. It seems that Sasuke's fire of revenge is stronger than he imagined. Okay, it's your turn. Kakashi looked at Naruto. Naruto stood up very seriously. Uzumaki Naruto, 12 years old, his hobby is to eat Ichiraku ramen, and his dream is to become Hokage. Kakashi nodded. As mentioned in the information, a hot-blooded middle school boy. Okay, then let's go directly to the next link. We've got to find another place, though. Kakashi smiled and looked at the 3 of them. Soon at the edge of the leaves, a large open space was found. Kakashi pulls out the bell. The battle for the bell is about to begin. Although you have graduated from school, I haven't recognized you yet. As your future instructors, only with my approval can you really graduate and become genin. If I don't approve of you, don't accept you, then you have to go back to the ninja school to study again. Kakashi raised the bell in his hand. See this thing? You need to snatch the bell from me before lunch. But there are only 2 bells. Having said that, Kakashi didn't continue talking. The implication is that there are only 2 bells, and only 2 people can pass through. But in fact, Kakashi didn't say that only 2 people can pass, and he didn't even say that grabbing the bell is considered a pass. Is there any problem? If not, then we can start now. None of the 3 asked any questions. Kakashi nodded, okay, as long as there is no problem. He took a book out of his pocket. Then let's begin. Kakashi's pretentious look is very good. Naruto, Shiyu, there are only 2 bells, let's do it quickly. If Sasuke snatches it, then we won't be able to divide. That means trying to get Sasuke eliminated and the 2 of them pass. Sasuke glanced at Naruto coldly. This guy has a good relationship with Shiyu. If the 2 of them work together to snatch the bell, then he will have to go back to school. Absolutely not. Sasuke frowned, and immediately exploded, an accelerated shot first. Unexpectedly, Sasuke was the first to strike. Kakashi thought Sasuke would watch calmly. Naruto was surprised by Sasuke's sudden move. So fast. Sasuke has always been a genius, number 1, but Naruto has never felt Sasuke's speed so intuitively. In a flash, he rushed to the front of Jonin's instructor. This speed is not something he can compare. Boom. Sasuke's physical skills are very solid. He swung his fist, and although Kakashi grabbed it with one hand, the sound of the impact was not small. This physical skill is already considered ceiling level for Genin. Continuous attack. Sasuke's strength and speed are very good. At the same time, the change of tricks is also perfect. But, for Genin, it is considered a textbook martial art, but in Kakashi's eyes, it is nothing. While reading a book, he can retreat while easily blocking Sasuke's tricks. Clasped Sasuke's hands with one hand. As a result, Sasuke could only jump up, use his feet to attack while his hands burst out with full strength, and break free from Kakashi's shackles. Kakashi froze for a moment, then put the book back into the ninja bag. And the next second Sasuke's body turned upside down and kicked Kakashi's head. Kakashi grabbed Sasuke's leg, but Sasuke reached out and grabbed the bell on Kakashi's waist. Kakashi, the kid, hurry up and throw Sasuke out. It was a surprise that Sasuke almost got the bell. Naruto was also taken aback, he almost got it. Looking back at Shiyu, Naruto saw that Shiyu was still calm as usual. Shiyu, aren't you worried? Hearing this, Shiyu smiled. What are you worried about? Worried about Sasuke snatching the bell. Shiyu shook his head indifferently. Shouldn't Kakashi be the one who should worry about? What kind of answer is this? At this moment, the sound of fierce fighting sounded again. Kakashi threw out his hands and Sasuke was beaten. Sasuke's expression changed drastically. How about trying this trick? As he said that, Sasuke's hands began to seal quickly. Seeing Sasuke's seal, Kakashi was very surprised. He can use ninjutsu. Is this fire style? Fire style, great fireball technique. Boom. Intense flames spurted from Sasuke's mouth. Kakashi's figure was instantly submerged directly. Then when the flames dissipated, Kakashi was completely invisible. Naruto yelled, Sasuke, did you kill Sensei? Sasuke was speechless. The opponent was Jonin, how could he be killed so easily? In the next second, a voice came from under Sasuke's feet. Earth style, hard beheading technique. Boom. Sasuke was pulled directly into the ground, leaving only one head exposed. Want to struggle? Sasuke is completely struggling. Kakashi clapped his hands. You did a great job, and you almost snatched the bell. Saying that, Kakashi turned his head to look at Naruto and Shiyu who hadn't made a move yet. Are you two just watching your companions being defeated by me? Teamwork or something? It's not like you can cooperate with each other when you meet for the first time. Shiyu is not yet familiar with each other. What a test of teamwork. Step up and walk in the direction of Kakashi, while holding the ninja Zagetsu on the back of the waist with the right hand. Naruto's voice sounded at this moment. Shiyu, let's deal with him together and grab the bell. Hearing this, Shiyu shook his head. No, just do as I said. Naruto was a little unhappy, but he didn't continue to refute. Did this kid tell Naruto about his plans? Kakashi smiled, knowing how to designate a battle plan is pretty good. But the two didn't care about Sasuke's life and death, which is not enough for a team. Clang! Shiryu pulled out Zagetsu. The jet black blade exuded this blue light pattern. Immediately, Kakashi was taken aback. What a beautiful knife. This ninja knife is very good, not an ordinary ninja knife. Hearing this, Shiryu looked at Zangetsu. It's really good. Sasuke and Naruto don't understand knives, but it doesn't prevent them from feeling Zangetsu's extraordinary. What is your name? Zangetsu. Kakashi bowed his head and savored the name carefully. It's a good sword name. I read your information, and it said that you created a sword technique yourself. Hearing this, Shiryu also nodded and admitted, ah. Yes. Well, it's good to be able to create your own swordsmanship at a young age, but swordsmanship is not the mainstream fighting style of ninjas, ninjutsu is. Is this to remind yourself? That's right. The swordsmanship handed down by Mr. Kakashi's family is very famous in Konoha, but Mr. Kakashi himself thinks that swordsmanship is not a powerful move. Didn't expect Shiryu to know himself. You know me. Kakashi was a little surprised. Shiryu nodded. Konoha's copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi, the Hitaki swordsmanship of the Hitaki clan. I am also very curious. It turned out to be like this. It seems that Shiryu, a kid, likes swordsmanship very much. Because I have heard Hitaki's swordsmanship, it is normal for me to know myself a little bit. Thinking of this, Kakashi took out kunai from the ninja bag. I haven't used Hitaki swordsmanship for a long time. Let's use kunai to compete with you. Look at your sword skills. At this moment Sarutobi Hiruzen is watching this through the crystal ball. Seeing that Kakashi actually wanted to use kunai as a sword, he competed with Shiryu in swordsmanship. Immediately shook his head. Kakashi. Even if you are a brat, don't underestimate him. Shiryu stared at Kakashi. Although Kakashi's strength is indeed very good, Hitaki's 50-50 is not for nothing. You can use kunai to compete with swordsmanship by yourself. That is too small for yourself. The corners of Shiryu's mouth rose slightly, revealing a faint smile. Sudden force in the next second. Bang buzz. There was an astonishing roar on the ground, and Shiryu's figure rushed out like a rocket that suddenly accelerated. This burst of speed has already stunned Kakashi. This is not the speed that Genin should have. Looking at the place where Shiryu was standing just now, a small piece of the ground was directly sunken. Naruto was right behind Shiryu's position, now engulfed in a cloud of dust. Shiryu passed in front of Sasuke, and a strong wind howled. Sasuke, who was buried in the ground, stared at Shiryu with wide eyes. Well, so fast. The speed is even faster than me. Followed by Sasuke's astonished eyes. The Zangetsu in Shiryu's hand drew a blue light. The semicircular arc slashed towards Kakashi's front. When the burst of sparks scattered, Shiryu holds the ninja sword Zangetsu in the back with his right hand, and presses the back third of the sword with his left hand. Kakashi crossed a kunai in each hand to block Shiryu's ninja sword. I don't know when Kakashi showed both hands at the same time. Shiryu raised his eyes and stared at Kakashi, whose expression was full of surprise. Use kunai to compete with me in swordsmanship. Mr. Kakashi must be extra careful. With a quick turn of the blade was aimed directly at Kakashi's jaw, and the left and right hands switched upwards. Kakashi's eyelids fluttered rapidly, jumped back quickly to escape. But Shiryu, the left and right hands were switched again, holding the knife in the right hand and chasing Kakashi straight away. Before, Shiryu has never used the sword technique of breathing water seriously. Since the development of water breathing until now, it has basically been linked to skills. For so many days, the passive skill bar has continuously enhanced the power of water breathing. Not only sword skills and water style, Shiryu's reaction and speed are also being enhanced all the time. The previous opponent was far from Kakashi's level. Shiryu wanted to make a serious move, but the opponent seemed unable to hold on. But Kakashi is different, not going to be killed so easily. Shiryu can finally use his sword at full strength without worrying about killing Kakashi. It's just a serious injury. Shiryu's eyes are extremely sharp. Blink. Kakashi felt a little intimidated by himself. Konoha Elite Jonin, the famous copy ninja. To be frightened by a look from a kid who just graduated. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. At this moment, Shiryu, who was rapidly approaching him, swung his knife at him with an indomitable momentum. The black knife body exudes faint blue knife patterns, accompanied by an extremely sharp sound of breaking wind. Clang! Sparks flew. Kakashi held kunai with both hands, and his arm felt a dull pain from the shock. What a strong force! This little devil is not only superb in swordsmanship, but also absolutely not weak in terms of strength. Why does it feel like fighting that guy? And the guy in front of him is still a guy of grandmaster swordsmanship, which is quite bad. Kakashi almost couldn't hold back the power again with a sword and retreated helplessly. But Kakashi persevered. But Shiyu laughed. As expected, it's Hitaki's 50-50, so I'm not welcome. Knife in both hands. At this moment, Shiyu's eyes seemed to burst into blue streamer. The whole face seemed to have suddenly turned into an evil spirit in the night. Kakashi couldn't help trembling slightly seeing Shiyu like this. Shua, Shua, Shua. Shiyu, holding the knife in both hands, seemed to go berserk all of a sudden. After images of Zangetsu frantically swinging the black knife emerged continuously, attacking Kakashi from all directions. Fast and crazy attack. Sasuke looked at the battle ahead. He couldn't see Shiyu's movements at all. But he is very clear that if he is facing such an attack, it is impossible for him to stop it. This guy. Was mediocre when he was in the ninja school, but he turned into a monster directly after leaving the ninja school. He was playing me before. Let me become the so-called number one, the so-called genius, while he hides in the dark, but he is the real most terrifying existence. Sasuke thinks it's Shiyu's trick to make himself attract everyone's attention while he hides himself. Click, click. Suddenly a strange voice sounded. Naruto and Sasuke looked in Kakashi's direction. Although Kakashi barely blocked Shiyu's continuous crazy slashes, he didn't last long. At this moment, the half of kunai broken in the air is slowly turning in the air. It landed on the tree trunk beside it, and bang, pierced directly into the tree trunk. Kakashi's figure jumped out from the forest and landed on the clearing near the river. Away from Naruto and Sasuke locations. Ha ha ha. Shiyu dragged Zangetsu and walked slowly towards Kakashi step by step. The sharp blade kept rubbing against the gravel on the ground and splashed out sparks. Kakashi looked at the future Shiyu and exhaled lightly. I didn't expect that at such a young age, your physique has been polished to such an extent. At the same time, your swordsmanship is indeed very strong. You have surpassed me in swordsmanship. Shiyu didn't pay much attention to Kakashi's words. However, both Sasuke and Naruto were surprised. Let Jonin guide the teacher and admit that he is not as good as Shiyu in swordsmanship. Although swordsmanship is not the mainstream of ninjas, Genin has an ability that can surpass Jonin. This is already quite incredible. Next, I'm going to be serious, and I won't just fight you with swordsmanship. Your self-created swordsmanship is really strong. Kakashi doesn't want his reputation to be ruined today. If he is defeated by a Genin kid who just graduated, how can he hang around in Konoha in the future? He must be ridiculed by Guy every day. Teacher, I haven't used my own swordsmanship yet. But if the teacher wants to see it, I will show it to the teacher right now. A smile appeared on Shiyu's face. Kakashi was stunned for a moment. Isn't Shiyu's continuous sword attack just now the sword skill he created? Every blow can accurately attack the weak point of his defense. Kakashi thought that the attack like a strong wind was Shiyu's swordsmanship. Isn't it? Teacher, be careful. Suddenly Shiyu's voice sounded. Kakashi raised his head suddenly. Rishin. In his heart, it suddenly seemed as if a drop of water fell on the lake, and the momentary calm seemed to be broken. Water breathing. Boom. Shiyu suddenly took a heavy step, and his body rushed straight forward. The speed is still fast. As soon as Kakashi reacted, he threw the shuriken directly, trying to contain Shiyu's attack. But Shiyu's speed didn't decrease but increased. One type, water surface cut. Shiyu's voice sounded. A stream of water emerged out of thin air, and the moment Shiyu's Zangetsu slid across, the amazing stream of water converged to form an incomparably wide chopping wave of water. Swept towards Kakashi. The shuriken thrown by Kakashi was instantly bounced off. If Kakashi hadn't jumped up in the next second, he might have been cut into two pieces by the sweeping water chopping wave. A drop of cold sweat dripped down Kakashi's cheeks, and a giant tree behind him collapsed. Whoosh! Suddenly a breaking wind sounded. Kakashi turned his head quickly, and caught Shiu's figure out of the corner of his eye. He has appeared beside Kakashi. Shiu bent down and held the knife in both hands, and suddenly raised his eyes to lock Kakashi. The unbridled type, the wave of strike. The moment the voice sounded, Jiao Hao Hao He Dao also appeared in Kakashi's eyes. The water meanders. However, the black knife seemed to flow quickly in the flow path formed by the water, and rushed towards him quickly. Swish swish swish. The moment the two figures intersect, the winding water surrounding Kakashi opens instantly. At the same time, Kakashi's body was suddenly cut into 10 pieces. Naruto suddenly took a deep breath. Now it's not because of Shiu's strength, but because he killed the teacher. Just when Naruto was about to speak, Shiu turned around and accelerated, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. In the direction of the distance, he swung his knife again. 7's type, Shizuku Ripple Stab. At this moment, Shiu was approaching Ultimate's thrust, and flew out like light in an instant. A sword stabbed into the bushes. In an instant, the Kakashi behind him turned into a piece of wood in the white smoke, and was divided into 10 pieces of wood. And a figure rolled out of the bushes quickly. Third generation, who was watching the battle with a crystal ball, was surprised by this scene, but also smiled, as expected of Kakashi. In such a short moment, the body replacement technique can still be used. Shiu's swordsmanship is indeed terrifying, and the speed of that stab is as fast as lightning. But it looks extremely soft, like a brook gurgling in the summer forest. But the power, it's completely different. Boom. A stream of water rushed straight past. Not to mention that the bushes were destroyed in an instant, a long trace was left on the ground. A trace that runs through and stretches for more than 10 meters appears. Kakashi, who rolled in embarrassment and dodged the blow, stood up, looking back at the traces on the ground. He was also afraid for a while. If he didn't dodge this immediately, he might have left a blood hole in his body right now. This kid, is he planning to kill me? When Kakashi paused, Shiu didn't intend to stop. In this battle, Shiu was simply too comfortable. Carefree, unprecedented fun. Don't worry about the enemy will be defeated, just need to draw the sword. Strictly speaking, this was Shiu's first all-out fight. 3 types Lulu Wu. Shiu took the next sword move directly after the blow. When heard Shiu's voice, Kakashi's complexion is not very good now, this kid has been from the beginning to now. Keep attacking, not even giving myself time to breathe. Isn't he tired? After Shiu began to formally display his sword skills, Kakashi was completely dumbfounded by the water-style power that broke out in the sword skills. Even a ninja who specializes in water style, the power of ninjutsu is nothing more than this. And Shiu integrated it into his swordsmanship, releasing these attacks without needing seals. Continuous attacks, physical strength and the control of chakra and nature transformation are not a small test. But Shiu didn't have any problems at all. This moment, Shiu's figure came with the high-speed impact of the sudden surge of water from nowhere. As if stepping on the water, the moment the sound of rushing water sounded. Shiu's knife appeared in front of Kakashi's eyes again, and the sharp blade was attacking his face quickly. Hide, it's too late. The moment Shiu left, Kakashi had already started making seals. When the blade came through the air, card CBDJ Cassie also completed the knot seal. Earth style, earth flow wall. In an instant, a wall of earth rose in front of Kakashi. Bang bang. The roar also sounded instantly, and Shiu slashed on the earth wall with a knife, and the hardness of the earth wall that blended into chakra was no joke. Shiu's sword can't completely cut it apart, and this type of sword move doesn't focus on power, but on speed. Swish. Suddenly a figure rushed out from behind the earth wall on the right, and Kakashi actually took the initiative to attack. A sword swung towards Kakashi, and Shiu's sword was swift and fierce, accompanied by a faint stream of water. Kakashi had no time to dodge and was hit. And the next second, boom, Kakashi exploded into a cloud of white smoke. Shadow clone. Suddenly, at this moment, there was a crackling sound of thunder and lightning behind Shiu. Shiu turned his head abruptly. Kakashi, who has pulled up his forehead protector behind him, revealed his Sharingan, staring at Shiu. Shiu, you're an astonishing brat, you never thought you'd be able to force me to such a degree just after leaving your job. And it's just swordsmanship, but your swordsmanship can no longer be completely defined by swordsmanship. Strictly speaking, it should be considered a type of ninjutsu. Kakashi said with a smile on his face under the mask. Kakashi is also very happy to have an outstanding ninja like Shiyu among his juniors. But happy for fun, it would be too embarrassing for Hatake Kakashi to be defeated by a brat. So, can't lose. But ninja fighting, relying only on physical skills, can't go far. This jutsu of mine can be regarded as my most powerful ninjutsu. It once cut off lightning. At this time, Shiyu directly grabbed Kakashi's words, Reikiri. Unexpectedly, Shiyu even knows Reikiri, so it will be easy to handle. Confidence. Block my Reikiri. Shiyu pinched the sword finger with his left hand, stroking Zagetsu's blade lightly. Who knows? Just try. Hearing this, Kakashi laughed softly. Dare to try it means that Shiyu also has more powerful tricks. Then, let's try it. Kakashi is looking forward to it, looking forward to Shiyu's amazing sword skills. Holding the knife in one hand, chakra began to surge Shiyu, and his momentum suddenly exploded. The amazing chakra passively wreaks havoc. This is the last form of water breathing. Choose the type. Suddenly Shiyu's body started to turn, and a water dragon emerged from where the blade passed. The sound of water flow from the gurgling stream. As the number of turns of Shiyu's rotation increases, the sound of water flow continues to increase. From the creek to the rushing river. Boom boom boom. In the blink of an eye, the roar of the water flow set off by Zangetsu has already begun to rumble. Kakashi originally wanted to wait for Shiyu to fully unleash, but now it seems that the more circles Shiyu turns, the more powerful the blow will be. I can't continue to wait any longer. If I want to continue to wait, then the loser must be myself. Shiyu, here I come. Kakashi directly pinched Reikiri and hit directly. At this moment, Shiyu also opened his eyes suddenly, and a cold light flashed on the Zangetsu knife held in both hands. The water dragon that suddenly raged and turned opened its mouth at this moment as if it was roaring. Looking at Kakashi who was attacking directly, Shiyu slashed the blade from top to bottom in Kakashi's direction. Life and death flow. Shiyu's voice sounded, and the water dragon formed by the violent current burst out suddenly. Kakashi also raised the raiden in his hand at the same time. Reikiri. The collision of the water flow and the lightning caused violent turmoil in the next second. Flashing thunder and lightning, constantly raging water. The crazy impact of each other caused an amazing storm. Boom. The sky-high noise exploded on the edge of Konoha, and the people who were half of Konoha suddenly raised their heads. What's going on here? However, Shiyu and Kakashi at the edge of Konoha. At this moment, as the dazzling light slowly dissipated, the terrifying storm also stopped. The third generation in Hokage's office also slowly took down his pipe. It's really a wonderful battle. He also didn't expect Shiyu, who just graduated from ninja school, to be able to fight Kakashi to such an extent. Monster-like imp. In the dust and smoke, a figure appeared first. Third generation was slightly taken aback. Could it be? Looking at Shiyu who came out of the dust and smoke. Third generation's heart froze. Could it be that Kakashi was the one who lost in the end? Just as third generation was thinking so, Kakashi also appeared. Gently patted the dust off his body. At this moment, he had pulled down the forehead protector to block Sharingan, stared at Shiyu for a while before saying, this kind of sword technique is really terrifying. To be able to match my Reikiri, Kakashi said, looking at Shiyu who was still breathing steadily. With the explosion just now, Shiyu acted like nothing happened. Doesn't this kid get tired? Of course Shiyu is fine. There are 2 water breathing skills in the passive skill bar. Shiyu uses water breathing in a state of no consumption at all. But now Shiyu is also slowly putting away Zangetsu, no need to continue. The last move also failed to defeat Kakashi, and this result made Shiyu understand what his own strength might be. At the same time, he also somewhat understood the approximate extent of the power of the breath of water. For the last blow just now, if Kakashi hadn't given himself a little time, it would be impossible for Tashizodo to be in the same state as Reikiri. The last pose takes a little time to prepare, and if there is enough time, it is not impossible to surpass Reikiri in power. But the enemy can't give you too much time to prepare to attack during the battle. At this time, Someone needs to hold back the enemy for Shiyu, and the water avatars may be able to provide Shiyu with a little help. I just used swordsmanship just now. If I add Jonin technique, it might not be difficult to deal with Kakashi. But Kakashi didn't really try his best. After all, Kamui is not used. If Kamui is added, I will definitely be able to win Kakashi. Although your swordsmanship is very strong and your fighting power is amazing, it's not like you can't meet my requirements. Suddenly Kakashi's voice sounded, and Shiyu was still thinking about his own problems. Looking up at Kakashi, I still have to say this after all this is wanting to fight again. Seeing that Shiyu seemed to be fighting again, Kakashi quickly said, it's not that you don't recognize your strength, but that you don't understand what is most important to a ninja. The most important. Shiyu is helpless. It seems that Kakashi is going to talk about teamwork again. Teamwork is important, but not so important that you can't live without it. But if you want to say this. Shiyu smiled and looked at Kaka. Suddenly, Kakashi was stunned, because at the same time two people rushed out from behind him, one left and one right. Naruto and Sasuke. When did they? Kakashi froze for a moment and stared at Shiyu in front of him. No wonder Shiyu put away his ninja sword. This is to let yourself relax, thus creating an opportunity for the two to attack. But didn't Sasuke let his heart decapitate the technique too? When he was fighting Shiyu just now, Naruto had already rescued Sasuke. Is this the plan that Shiyu told Naruto before? Swish. The sneak attack of the two was still unsuccessful, although Kakashi had just had a fierce battle with Shiyu, but it was easy to dodge Naruto and Sasuke's attacks. Naruto and Sasuke failed in their sneak attack, so they quickly jumped to Shiyu's side and said with some self-blame, sorry Shiyu, we didn't succeed. Even Sasuke could only keep silent at this moment. Shiyu let the opponent relax and created an opportunity for them to attack, but they failed to grasp it. I'm really sorry for Shiyu. Shiyu didn't care and didn't say anything. And Kakashi suddenly fell and jumped onto a wooden post not far away. He squatted down and looked at the three of them. Shiyu's fighting power is very strong and smart. Even if he has a fighting power comparable to mine, he still knows how to use tactics to make me relax. Naruto and Sasuke's sneak attack just now, if these two brats were stronger, he might not be able to dodge it. Naruto and Sasuke are not bad either. Single quote. Most importantly, Shiyu knows how to work as a team. According to the normal situation, a child as old as Shiyu wants to show off by himself, and doesn't think about his companions at all. But just now Shiyu ordered Naruto to rescue Sasuke, and let the two hide, and attacked him when he was most relaxed. It seems that there is no need to continue. You passed. Sasuke, who was still about to make a move, froze for a moment. What did you say? Kakashi jumped down. I said, you are qualified. Qualified? Haven't we defeated you yet? And Bell. Naruto was also very puzzled. Why did he suddenly qualify? Kakashi looked at the silly Naruto and smiled. Did I say that you must grab the bell to qualify? But didn't you say that our mission is to snatch your bell? A task is a task, and a qualification is a qualification. Is there any necessary connection between the two? Naruto was stunned for a moment, and told him that he was stunned. There is no connection between the two. Sasuke looked up at Kakashi. Why? Why did we pass? Look at yourselves. Now the three of you are working together to deal with me. You must know that the power of the team is terrifying. Even if I am Jonin, I can't kill you when the three of you attack together. Continue to fight, I will make mistakes, and it is only a matter of time before you win. Saying that, Kakashi laughed. Furthermore, this test is your teamwork spirit, which is very good. Gather here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we will officially start your ninja career. Saying that, Kakashi raised his hand and waved at the three of them. Okay, goodbye. It's almost noon, let's go eat. After speaking, the person disappeared. Naruto looked back at Shiyu, with a look of awe besides a hint of excitement in his eyes. He didn't expect Shiyu to be so powerful that he fought back and forth with teacher Jonin, and even seemed to end up with a tie. This is too strong. Shiyu, you can fight like this with the teacher, so can you teach me swordsmanship? Hearing this, Shiyu smiled. It's no problem to teach you, but your chakra is most likely not of water attribute, so you can't learn it. Sasuke originally wanted to speak when Shiyu agreed, but stopped after hearing the second half of the sentence. He should be a ninja with fire attributes, so he probably won't be able to learn this swordsmanship. Okay, let's go to lunch first. The task will start tomorrow. Saying that, Shiyu walked directly towards the village. At the same time, click on the skill bar. Great Sage. Analysis completed. Because the host does not have Sharingan, lightning style, Reikiri cannot be used. Congratulations to host for getting a new skill, lightning style. Although Reikiri cannot be used, Shiyu just unlocked lightning style nature transformation through Kakashi's Reikiri. Not bad. Eat. How about Shiyu going to eat Ichiraku ramen? Shiyu withdrew his gaze from the system and looked at Naruto, who had sent an invitation to him. Okay. Looking back at Sasuke, who was about to leave, Shiyu stopped him. Sasuke, do you want to go together? Hearing this, Sasuke froze for a moment, then frowned. Then let's go together. Before Sasuke could answer, Shiyu made a decision for Sasuke. However, Sasuke did not dislike Shiyu's approach. To deal with this kind of arrogant brat, you don't need to give the other party a choice, just help the other party make the choice. Come to Ichiraku ramen, my treat, 3 bowls of ramen, thank you. Shiyu said. Naruto on the side was still calculating whether the money on his body was enough for the 3 of them to eat together, and he laughed when he heard this sentence. Then I'm not being polite. No problem, don't worry, the money I brought is enough for you to eat. After Shiyu finished speaking, Naruto's eyes radiated terror, as if the whole person had turned into a dragon. Sasuke is sitting on Shiyu's right hand, looking at Shiyu. You are so strong, why didn't you show it at school? Shiyu smiled at this question. Why show it when you're in school? In fact, Shiyu's changes only started in the past month, so I don't have a chance to express myself. When it was almost time for the graduation exam, I didn't test anything. You want to hide yourself. Make yourself unnoticed, Sasuke said. Shiyu didn't understand why Sasuke thought so. HMPH. You are obviously powerful and terrifying, but you don't show it at all. In this way, no one will notice you. Sasuke clenched his fist lightly, but now I have noticed Shiyu, I will not lose to you, and I will catch up soon. Hearing this, Shiyu nodded and patted Sasuke's shoulder lightly, I believe you can do it. After all, he is the reincarnation of Indra, and Sasuke's speed of deception is also very fast. I should be the one to catch up with Shiyu first. Naruto spoke at this moment. Sasuke has no intention of bickering with Naruto, we'll see. With just such a sentence, the two began to secretly compete. I even started eating ramen faster than anyone else. Seeing the two people swallowing wildly, Shiyu panicked. Shiyu probably understands Naruto's appetite. If Naruto is alone, Shiyu will not panic but add Sasuke. Are these two guys going to bankrupt themselves? After leaving from Ichiraku ramen, Shiyu looked at his empty wallet without tears. These two fools, Shiyu suspects they did it on purpose. I'm afraid the days after that will be difficult. Why? After sighing, Shiyu walked out of the village. Naturally, going outside the village is for cultivation, even if you have a preliminary understanding of the level of your current combat effectiveness. Shiyu wouldn't stop there either. Facing Kakashi himself should be undefeated by now. So basically the only enemies that need attention are cage-level ninjas. But that's not enough. You have to be stronger yourself. When he came to the edge of the small waterfall, Shiyu untied the ninja sword at his waist and stuck it in the rock beside him. Then jump onto the boulder in the middle of the river. Raise your hand and start printing. It's been hanging for a whole day, let's see now. How is the power of ice escape? Freezing moment. Ice escape activated. Within a few breaths, everything within a range of nearly 40 meters began to condense frost rapidly. And a layer of solid ice gradually emerged. The power has increased a lot, and the range of freezing has reached the level of 40 meters. Good. Made progress again. Shiyu unfrozen, then looked in the direction of Ninja Zagetsu. I am about 15 meters away from Ninja Zagetsu. Shiyu formed a mudra with one hand while staring at the ninja knife. In the next second, a layer of frost was instantly covered on the ninja knife, and then ice crystals visible to the naked eye continued to appear from bottom to top. It took 3 seconds to directly freeze the ninja knife, and from the position of the ninja knife, the surrounding ground frost also quickly condensed. In less than 10 seconds, everything within a range of 40 meters around was gradually frozen again. Shiyu nodded in satisfaction when he lifted the ninjutsu. It's not bad. At a distance of 15 meters, the target object can be covered in frost instantly at the moment of freezing, and the guy who reacts a little slower will be frozen directly after, struggling at most. Then the next step is Ice Escape, Ice and Snow World. Shiyu closed his eyes, and at the same time replaced the 2 Ice Escape ninjutsu on the skill bar, and directly replaced them with Water style. Then using Ice Escape will be able to achieve no consumption. Shiyu maintains the frozen state, and the ice crystals within 40 meters will not melt. And the next second, the pupils opened suddenly, and the world of ice and snow activated. The invisible chakra wave erupted, and the surrounding area unexpectedly became frozen again, and countless snowflakes emerged at the same time, floating down from the sky. There was light in Shiyu's eyes, and he raised his hand to hook the snowflakes falling in the air. Immediately, snowflakes swept over, flying around Shiyu continuously. Scrolling, Shiyu controlled the snowflakes to speed up, and then waved his hand suddenly towards the distance. The ice and snowstorm was suddenly formed, and it directly spoke to Yuan. The huge impact directly shattered the boulder, and the rolling ice and snow crazily cut the shattered stone. The ice crystals contained in the snowflakes can easily cut the stone into fine gravel, scattered all over the place. Seeing this scene, Shiyu smiled. Turning his head and looking to the other side, 1/3 of the tree was covered by frost, and the roots, branches and leaves were covered with ice and snowflakes. In the next second, Shiyu manipulated the snowflakes that were generated out of thin air, turning into a snowflake tornado and rushing directly towards the tree. After the ice and snow engulfed the trees, the snowflakes quickly disappeared. Shiyu waved the rest of the snow to dissipate, leaving the trees infested with snow chill. In Shiyu's note, the tree split suddenly, click. The branches and leaves of the tree fell, and a leaf fell to the ground, and it fell apart with a slight fall. Shiyu catapulted an ice cube lightly towards the tree, but the tree seemed to disintegrate when it was touched lightly, turning into countless fine sands and floating away. Ultimate low temperature, anything will become brittle. This is the power of cold air. Let alone a tree, even steel will become weaker than paper as long as the temperature is low enough under the pouring of cold air. There is basically no problem with the control of ice and snow, and the effect that can be achieved is no different from Gaara's control of sand. Now, what makes Shiyu a little dissatisfied is the range. The range of 40 meters is still too small. It seems that the 2 skills of Frozen Time and Ice World will stay on the skill bar for a long time. Ice Shield, Snow Shock, Ice Shuriken, Freeze. Shiyu tried to launch various attacks with ice and snow. The ice shield condenses extremely hard ice in an instant, forming a defense around Shiyu. It can be a huge ice wall, or an ice seal that completely wraps Shiyu. Snow Impact condenses ice and snow to form a small ice storm, impacts on the target, has a strong impact, and at the same time, the large snowflakes formed by the ice crystals are very sharp, and the cutting ability is also very good. Ice Shuriken, as the name suggests, is to directly condense ice crystals into a shuriken, which is used to attack. In addition to the shape of the shuriken, Shiyu can basically control what kind of objects the ice and snow condense into. De-icing is mainly the use of cold air, just like Byakuya Kuchiki controls Senbon Sakura, allowing countless snowflakes to attack the target. However, in fact, the most important means of attack is the cold air, and the freezing of the cold air can make the attacked person or object fragile due to the terrible low temperature. Cells undergo rapid necrosis that destroys the structure. Of course, if the opponent uses chakra to resist, it should be able to block it for a period of time, if it cannot escape at this time. Then if you compete with chakra consumption, in Shiyu's ice and snow world, will not be afraid of anyone. After all, Shiyu has no consumption, so the enemy is not necessarily. After activating the ice world, the freezing moment can only maintain the low temperature within the range, so that Shiyu can better use the ability of the ice world. In the case of not activating the ice world, when the freezing moment is activated for the first time, you can concentrate on freezing the target objects within a certain range. But if the opponent is not frozen, then the freezing moment will not have any attack ability. It will change to maintain a certain range of temperature and become extremely low. Now Shiyu's ice escape ability is probably like this. It's already pretty good. Shiyu himself was quite satisfied with Bingdun's ability. From Shiyu's point of view, in a one-on-one battle, As long as this ability is activated, it is only a matter of time before the enemy is defeated. As long as it is within this range, the enemy needs to constantly consume stamina and chakra to keep themselves from being frozen just to protect themselves. At the same time, you have to face your own cold and ice crystal attacks, which is not easy. With the skill column, these two abilities will become more terrifying sooner or later. At that time, the enhancement of range and freezing ability may really be no worse than wood style. Shiyu is now looking forward to the time when these two techniques grow to have that kind of power. Rehanging the two spells on the passive skill bar, Shiyu is ready to start researching his newly acquired attributes. Lightning style. Although lightning style Shiyu likes it very much, at the same time the power of lightning style is also very good. But now compared to water style, the escapism of the other four attributes is too far behind. It's not easy for them to catch up with water style. It may take a long time just to hang on the skill bar. So if it is not necessary, Shiyu does not plan to further develop other escape techniques. However, lightning style can still be developed a little bit. After all, lightning style and water style can form compound ninjutsu to strengthen the power of water style. Meanwhile, Shiyu also had a curious question. Great Sage, can you analyze Sharingan? Great Sage. Unable to analyze, not unanalyzable, but unanalyzable. Can't be parsed. Why can't it be parsed? Great Sage. Pupil art Sharingan is not simply the use of chakra, the most important of which is the power of blood, and the secret of blood cannot be resolved until the secret of blood is understood. Looks like that, I can't rely on you to obtain Sharingan's blood inheritance limit. Shiyu was a little disappointed. Great Sage. If the active skill 1 is repaired, the host can get the Sharingan's blood inheritance through the active skill 1, even the blood of Otsutsuki can also be used. Active skill 1. What is active skill 1? Great Sage. Active skill 1 Gluttony. Shiyu smiled, he should have thought of it a long time ago, didn't he see the word gluttony? But never paid attention to it. Great Sage. Gluttony can prey on any object, and I will analyze it in the body, so that the host can obtain any blood inheritance limit. Very good. Shiyu was a little excited. The existence of gluttons simply gave him the possibility of infinite evolution. Etc. Great Sage, you haven't fully repaired yourself. When will gluttony be able to open? Great Sage. Unpredictable time. Knew it would be like this. Then when will you be able to fully restore it? Great Sage. Unpredictable time. Why, at least give yourself some time. Great Sage. In fact, as the host continues to calculate various abilities, it also speeds up my repair factory in a disguised form. Estimated to calculate 1 or 2 blood succession boundaries, and my calculation ability will increase by 10% again. There is another saying, calculating the blood succession limit by yourself can also help the Great Sage recover. Then judging from your current recovery progress, I'm afraid I'll have to develop 7 or 8 blood successor limits before your calculation ability can be fully recovered. Great Sage. It is estimated that at least 10 blood successors are needed. Well, more than I thought. 10 blood successors. That said, it won't be long in reality. It can be done in 2 or 3 months at most, so it is still acceptable. Okay, 10 is 10, isn't it the development of blood successor limit? Shiyu clapped his hands. Now that he has all 5 chakra attributes, it is not a problem at all to develop the blood succession limit. But before again, Shiyu still wants to study the issue of lightning style. Developing Shueiji boundary can help you fix it, so what about my development of ninjutsu? Great Sage. The same can be done. That's fine. Now, based on the existing ninjutsu, calculate a low-level lightning style for me. The power doesn't need to be too strong. Calculating. 20%, 40%, 60%. This calculation speed is really fast. The development of ninjutsu does not seem to be a big problem for the Great Sage now. Unless it involves complicated chakra use. Successful calculation. Congratulations to host for acquiring new skills, pass. Lightning style, lightning strike, release a bolt of lightning to attack. With such a short introduction, it's no wonder that it was calculated in an instant. But enough. There is a lightning style ninjutsu, so Shiyu has to try it and see if he can perform compound ninjutsu. Hands up. Print. The left hand casts water style, water dragon bomb technique. The right hand casts lightning style ~operator lightning strike, and the right hand is pressed on the left arm to complete the mudra. Immediately, lightning and lightning flowed, and the current swept across. The water surged, and the thunder and lightning raged. However, in the next second, thunder and lightning burst out from Shiyu's palm, and at the same time, water flowed out of thin air along Shiyu's arm. Surrounding Shiyu's arms formed a stream of water that rolled straight forward. Thunder and lightning raged out and surged directly along the water flow. Compound ninjutsu. Lightning water dragon bomb technique. A terrifying roar sounded, and suddenly the water dragon swept towards the sky with its long fangs and 5 claws. At the same time, his whole body was covered with thunder. Beep. The lightning water dragon bomb landed in the distant forest, and the terrifying impact generated by the explosion of the water directly destroyed 7 or 8 trees in the forest, directly forming an open space with a diameter of about 10 meters. At the same time, the water flow rolled the lightning and passed around along the water flow. Seeing this effect, Shiyu was very satisfied. But, Great Sage, why is there no hint? Isn't this a new skill? Great Sage. Analysis. All the skills used by this skill have already been recorded, and the host uses different skills at different times before and after, so it is naturally not a new skill. Forehead. Well, it doesn't really count. Then what is it? Great Sage. I don't know. The reason why he wanted to try compound ninjutsu was that Shiyu thought compound ninjutsu would be considered a new skill. If it is really possible, then I have a way to let myself use the 5 escapes, all without consumption. But obviously this path doesn't work. Shiyu was not too disappointed when his idea failed. If it doesn't work now, it doesn't mean it won't work in the future. One day, I will be able to create a technique that possesses 5 types of nature transformation at the same time, so that I can easily achieve all 5 escapes without consumption. In fact, there is no consumption for the 5 escapes, isn't it just the truth-seeking ball? As long as one masters the technique of truth-seeking ball, then not only the 5 escapes but also yin-yang are included. All attribute ninjutsu has no consumption, not just talk. Now I have also tried the compound ninjutsu that I want to try. It stands to reason that Shiyu wants to revive the active skill 1 glutton as soon as possible. Then we should immediately start developing a new blood succession limit, so that the Great Sage can speed up the repair. But, Shiyu suddenly thought of something that he had been puzzled about before. I don't know what the effect will be if the fusion of blood successor limit and blood successor limit. Thinking of this, Shiyu immediately became interested. The fusion of 2 chakra attributes can develop the bleeding successor limit, but in fact, the blood succession limit is just a new chakra nature transformation. Strictly speaking, it is actually changing chakra to produce a nature transformation that does not belong to the 5 basic attributes. Therefore, the 2 blood inheritance boundaries can also be regarded as a special nature transformation chakra. The fusion of blood succession limit and blood succession limit should also be possible. Great Sage, do you think it's feasible? Great Sage. Analyzing. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Great Sage. Host wants to be established, but it is very difficult to realize it. High difficulty. Shiyu can imagine this point. After all, it is not easy to integrate the blood successor limit itself. On this basis, it is even more difficult to integrate the blood succession limit and the blood succession limit. A little bit of difficulty is normal. If I successfully fuse the blood successor limit and blood successor limit, will it be of great help to your recovery? Great Sage. It is estimated that the fusion of blood succession limit and blood succession limit may have the same effect as the development of 3 blood succession limits. 3 blood successors limit the boundary, then the help is not ordinary. Then come and try. The Great Sage didn't answer, it seems that he asked himself to think about it. Then try it. Theoretically speaking, the fusion of 5 different attributes of chakra can produce more attributes, and then the attributes generated by these fusions can also be fused again to produce even more incredible attributes. Perhaps in the end there is nothing in the world that chakra cannot become. The fusion power of blood successor boundary and blood successor boundary may not be astonishing. Shiyu felt compelled to give it a try. And now Shiyu also happens to have 2 blood successor boundaries that are very suitable for fusion. Ice escape and boil style. One for low temperature and one for high temperature. Ice and boiling are just opposites, cold and steam. Shiyu was curious about what the fusion of these two forces would create. Then try to combine ice escape and boil style. Great Sage, let's analyze what preparations need to be made to successfully integrate the two blood successor boundaries. Great Sage, analyzing. According to the idea of the host, we speculate that we want to combine the two blood succession boundaries. 1. It is necessary to enhance the control of chakra, to the point where chakra can be easily manipulated as silk threads at will. 2. Host needs to enhance two nature transformation, ice escape and boil style tools. 3. The host needs to enhance the physique. The current physique is too weak to withstand the impact of the drastic temperature change during the fusion. Simply put, it is chakra's control, the power of escapism, and physical fitness. In that case, I have to change the skills on the passive skill bar a little bit. Great Sage. Reminder, host puts skills on the skill bar. The improvement brought by active use of skills is more than double that of passive operation. Is there such a function? Great Sage. Of course. Why didn't you say it sooner? Great Sage. I thought the host already felt it. Sometimes. This skill doesn't seem very smart either. All right, thinking about it carefully, it really seems that after installing the skill on the passive skill bar, every time I use the skill, the effect is very good. In this case, it is naturally impossible to rely on passive operation alone. The effect of self-active cultivation is more than 10 times, which is still very good, and the combination of active and passive is faster. No money. Great Sage. Speeding up thinking can also improve the effect of active cultivation. Thinking acceleration still has this ability. Great Sage. Of course. Why did Shiyu feel as if he didn't even need to ask this question? Asked why it didn't say it before, I guess I would still answer myself, I didn't ask. He exhaled lightly, calming down his rising blood pressure. Shiyu looked at the passive skill bar faintly. Since this starts from the control of chakra, the three skills of chakra, physical skills, and illusion cannot be changed. This is the foundation, and the foundation has to be built. As for the two ice escape ninjutsu, try not to remove them. Then there are 2 breaths of water left, and now Kakashi is full of praise for his swordsmanship, although the passive operation is constantly improving. But the speed is also much slower, just replace them. Take control with chakra. Replace the passive skill bar. The next step is to practice. And the practice that needs to be done now is chakra control. Usually the control training that needs to be done is nothing more than 2. Climb trees and tread water. These 2 skills Shiyu has already mastered. But just like the classmate test and the scumbag test, the test is also 100 points. The scumbag is because his ability can only take 100 points. So although you have mastered the skills, it doesn't mean you can't continue to strengthen them. Then how can I strengthen the training of chakra control? Add weight. This is the first method Shiyu thought of. Great Sage. Host only needs to release the skills hanging on the passive skill bar, and release them normally to get 10 times the effect. Then I will increase the difficulty myself, and the effect of cultivation will be further enhanced. Great Sage. Of course. That's all right. Since it has already taken time to cultivate, what Shiyu wants is to increase the difficulty of cultivation as much as possible and strengthen the effect of cultivation. Glancing at the boulder on the side, it weighs about 700 jin. For Shiyu's physique, it is not difficult to lift such a stone. But standing on the water holding such a stone is. Poof. Not surprisingly, Shiyu fell directly into the river. Fortunately, the river was not deep, and the water level only reached Shiyu's waist. It seems, the weight has been strengthened, and if you want to step on the water, the requirements for chakra's control are even higher. The width of the feet is that big, and I want to rely on these chakras to lift a 700 jin corpse to stand on the water. That also means that chakra needs to flow faster and at the same time strengthen the density of chakra. In a fixed range, the density of chakra should be strengthened. For the control of chakra, the requirements are not generally high. Lower the weight a bit and try again. With Shiyu's current chakra control ability, he can lift up to 500 caddies of stones and stand on the water. And because the water flow under the waterfall is extremely fast, Shiyu could only hold for 10 seconds before falling into the water. Although falling into the water again and again made Shiyu a little helpless. But Shiyu also felt the tenfold effect that the great sage said. At the same time, when the thinking acceleration effect is turned on to strengthen the practice, only then did Shiyu truly feel what it means to advance by leaps and bounds. Shiyu seems to be able to master more methods every time he practices, and can obviously feel greater progress. The first time I only persisted for more than 10 seconds. But the second time, Shiyu held on for 25 seconds. The third time, I persisted for more than 30 seconds. Such an obvious improvement made Shiyu even more excited. Continuously falling into the water, and then getting up again and again, and each time the persistence time will directly increase a lot compared to the last time. 10 times the effect of cultivation. This is simply amazing. Although Shiyu was already drenched, he was very happy. It seems that I should continue to refine chakra at night, just relying on the growth of the passive skill bar. The speed is too slow. Plop. Shiyu fell into the water again. At this time, Shiyu has been replaced by a huge stone weighing 700 catties. 3 hours passed quickly during Shiyu's crazy practice. Boom buzz. With a loud noise, Shiyu threw the huge boulder dozens of times larger than himself directly aside. The boulder fell and directly smashed a hole in the ground, and even the ground seemed to shake slightly. This stone weighs 1,000 catties. However, Shiyu was able to keep standing for about half an hour while holding it on the high-speed flowing water. The practice of treading water can continue, but you have to continue to increase the weight. But holding the CBDJ boulder non-stop for 3 hours, the weight wasn't just a test of chakra's control. It is also a test of Shiyu's physique. Shiyu was tired too. Now get ready to take a break. But Shiyu didn't intend to waste the rest time. Open your hands and release chakra to control chakra to change into various shapes. And this can be regarded as actively releasing the passive skills controlled by chakra. It can still provide Shiyu with the effect of cultivation. Watching the shape change of the chakra released from the palm, it becomes easier to change according to Shiyu's will. Shiyu suddenly thought of something, the puppeteer's chakra line. Although I don't know what the difference is. But if you condense chakra into a state of silk thread, release it and then control these silk threads, what will be the effect? Thinking of Shiyu, he tried directly, raising his hand for the first time to release the chakra silk thread. Seeing a few thick chakra silk threads fly out for a distance of 3 or 4 meters, it seems very difficult to stop and want to go further. Shiyu's eyes lit up immediately, because during the process of releasing the chakra silk thread, Shiyu felt that the enhanced effect on chakra's control was even more obvious than holding a boulder and treading water. Continue to try to control the chakra more delicately, forming a more slender chakra line, and at the same time continue to extend the distance of the chakra line as much as possible. Time passed little by little, and the chakra lines flying out of Shiyu's fingers became thinner and thinner while the distance continued to increase. In just 2 hours, Shiyu directly turned the thread, which was originally the size of a finger, into a spider's thread. If it weren't for the blue light of chakra, it would be difficult to find the existence of the chakra thread. At the same time, it has reached a terrifying distance. It stretches directly for more than 50 meters. But, what is the use of this chakra thread? It seems that only puppet masters can operate puppets through the chakra line through the secret method of puppets. It's a pity that Shiyu doesn't know puppetry. At the same time, it would be too time-consuming for the great sage to calculate. After all, Shiyu doesn't have any ninjutsu in this area, and it may take several weeks to rely solely on the calculation of the great sage. Besides, Shiyu doesn't plan to learn puppetry either. But look at the chakra thread in your hand. If the chakra density of the chakra thread is strengthened, will the chakra thread be able to generate some attack power? Even if there is no attack power, it is a good skill to be able to pull something through the air through the chakra thread. But there is a new problem here. I want to strengthen the density of chakra threads while maintaining such a thin state. Obviously not so easy to do. This seems to be a new direction of cultivation. Shiyu tries to increase the density of chakra. Looking at the chakra silk thread shot out from the hand, the color is becoming more and more intense, and there is a kind of gradual change from gaseous state. The sensation of constantly changing into a liquid state. When Shiyu condenses the density of chakra to his limit, and then tries to control the state of chakra changing into chakra silk thread and project it out. At the first attempt, the thickness of the chakra silk thread returned to the same size as a finger. But the chakra thread shot out as exactly as Shiyu thought. A stone was pulled over easily. Although it is only a small stone, it weighs only a few kilograms. But now the chakra thread seems to be working. But the distance can only reach about 3 meters, the chakra line is too thick, and it is too far from what Shiyu imagined, and the distance is also not up to the requirement. Continue. Look up at the sky, the moon has come out. Before I knew it, it was night again. But Shiyu doesn't plan to go home and sleep now, the speed of this kind of cultivation progress is simply unstoppable. Learning progress is quite an addictive thing, especially when you can clearly feel your progress. With this speed of improvement, Shiyu felt as if sleeping was a waste of time. And as Shiyu began to continue to focus on chakra's control practice, the length of the chakra thread is not just increasing slowly. 7 meters, 8 meters, 9 meters, 10 meters. Even the density of the chakra threads is increasing. And as chakra's ability to control continues to improve, Shiyu even feels something more. For example, chakra flowing in the body, and acupuncture points all over the body. A feeling of being gradually controlled by the body emerges. After Shiyu managed to reach a distance of 20 meters, Shiyu looked at the chakra thread in his hand. Looking up at the stone 20 meters away. The weight is about 200 katis, and it is absorbed with chakra silk thread, and then pulled back. Sure enough, the stone was easily pulled over. Shiyu looked at these chakra threads. As this considered accomplished, Shiyu smiled. But suddenly when Shiyu retracted the chakra thread, he looked at the compressed chakra in his hand. It flows on the arm like a liquid, and there are white light spots in it, blinking constantly. This feeling reminded Shiyu of something suddenly. Suddenly a smile appeared on Shiyu's face, and then he began to control chakra to compress continuously, and then covered the body. The chakra in the body is continuously being extracted, and Shiyu can obviously feel that his chakra is constantly decreasing. And when the compressed chakra covers the whole body, less than 1% of the chakra in Shiyu's body remains. Compared with ordinary ninjas, Shiyu's chakra amount is now about 800 times that of them. Instead, apply chakra compresses to the surface of the body. There was only about 1% left. Visible how much chakra is compressed. However, when Shiyu finished the last step, congratulations to host for mastering new skills, Chakra Coat. Chakra Coat. Provide powerful attack and defense power, according to different chakra, different degrees of compression, the power is also different. Chakra Coat. I developed the Chakra Coat inexplicably. What is a Chakra Coat? Needless to say. This state basically occurs when Naruto uses Nine Tails Chakra. At the same time, Susanoo of Sasuke is also a kind of Chakra Coat. The Chakra Coat is also a very powerful ability, integrating offense and defense. Can increase attack and defense. Even speed can be increased. Shiyu looked at the blue light flowing from his body, and at the same time, white starlight was shining in these blue liquid chakra. Under the night sky, Shiyu, bathed in chakra, is almost like wearing a garment formed by the sky full of stars. Shiyu looked at the stone in front of him, raised his hand and stretched out his index finger, and tapped lightly on the stone. Next second, click, crack, crack, bang, the boulder directly split into countless cracks, just such a light point, and the stone cracked. And directly collapsed a corner. Just so lightly, just. Has this kind of power. Shiyu herself felt a little unbelievable. The feel of the chakra coat is amazing. However, the consumption of chakra is quite a lot, and Shiyu does not have 9 tails to provide tailed beast chakra. If you want to condense the chakra coat, you can only rely on your own chakra. And using his own chakra to condense the chakra coat, if it weren't for Shiyu's control of chakra, it would have been raised to the point of terror. Even with this amount of chakra, it is absolutely impossible to condense the chakra coat. Shiyu raised his hand and shot out the chakra silk thread, pulling the ninja knife Zagetsu stuck in the rock in the distance. Pulling out Zangetsu, Shiyu cut his arm lightly with Zangetsu directly. However, the sharp Zangetsu, even cutting gold and cutting jade is no problem, and can slide on the chakra coat. Even sparks burst out, with the defense of the chakra coat, ordinary attacks cannot penetrate the defense at all. Strong, too strong. Is this a windfall? Just to enhance the chakra control ability, the chakra coat was actually developed. Even the chakra coat has been developed, so according to the current situation, my grasp of chakra should be enough to carry out the fusion of the 2 blood successors. Great sage. It is estimated that the limit distance of the highly condensed chakra silk thread should be extended to about 35 meters, which should meet the requirements for the fusion of the two blood successors. Need another 15 meters. Shiyu looked up at the sky. It should be almost morning now. To extend the distance by another 15 meters, I'm afraid, it will take several hours. Forget it, let's get here today. Shiyu is not a fairy, and he is very tired now. While sleeping to restore energy, tomorrow will be Genin's first mission. Although it may be some D-level tasks such as catching cats and dogs, or cleaning up weeds and taking out garbage. But this task is the most energy-intensive. He raised his hand and released the chakra silk thread, directly sucked the scabbard on the ground, and pulled it into his hand. Shiyu scabbard Zangetsu. Nodding in satisfaction, although the chakra silk thread is not good enough for attacking, but it has many aspects in normal times with this ability. At the same time, it is also very suitable for using pills when playing handsome. Chapter 71. When Shiyu finished his crazy training and went home to sleep. Third generation Hiruzen looked at Kakashi who came in. Sorry, I have to call you over so late, there is no way this old man has just finished handling the matter. Hearing this, Kakashi shook his head. Master third generation doesn't need to apologize, you should pay more attention to your body for working hard for Konoha. I'm old, I really can't accept my old age. Third generation stood up and flexed his muscles, while turning his head to look at Kakashi. What do you think of those three children? I knew that third generation would ask questions before I came here, and Kakashi had already thought of an answer. Uchiha Sasuke, genius, but engulfed in flames of vengeance, it seems hard to get out. If he gives up revenge, his future may be better. Yeah, third generation nodded. He can't do anything about Uchiha Sasuke's matter. Itachi obviously has his own idea. What about Naruto? Kakashi thought for a while. Naruto is indeed a person who has inherited the will of fire. Except for being a little stupid, everything else is good. Even if Nine Tails didn't make trouble in him, I'm afraid he would be a better genius than Sasuke. Then, where's Shiyu? When asked about Shiyu, Kakashi's expression became much more serious. This is also the most important part of my report this time. Moonlight Shiyu, I didn't expect this kid to be so amazing. Master third generation reminded me before that this kid created his own swordsmanship. I didn't take it seriously, but this fight let me see what is called a peerless genius. Recalling the fight with Shiyu, Kakashi can still remember it vividly. That child is very talented. He was able to combine water style with swordsmanship and developed such a swordsmanship. It can no longer be called swordsmanship, but ninjutsu. Single-handed swordsmanship alone is not weaker than ordinary jonin, and his speed and strength are unmatched by ordinary people. Kakashi said that he felt a little unbelievable. The Moonlight clan is not a big family of Konoha, to have such an outstanding child. It seems that you have a good opinion of him. Kakashi smiled. Not only does he have amazing talent, but he also knows how to take care of his companions. He doesn't have the arrogance of his peers at all. It's rare to have such a talent without any arrogance. Don't you have arrogance? Hiruzen doesn't think so, but it's true that he knows how to take care of his companions. Do you think that kid can beat you if you really do it? Hearing this, Kakashi shook his head. Master third generation, I am Konoha's elite jonin anyway. It is not so easy for a kid who just graduated from ninja school to defeat me. Really, that kid didn't use a single ninjutsu when he fought with you. Hearing this, Kakashi was slightly stunned. A kid like him, even if he knows ninjutsu, he doesn't know much. Using ninjutsu is simply. This is not necessarily the case. Anbu has witnessed this kid before, and it seems to use Water Style's body flicker technique. Water Style's body flicker technique. Kakashi suddenly opened his eyes and looked at third generation, as if asking if what third generation said was true. Forget about the body flicker technique, or the escape technique. Is this possible? If you want to master the escape technique, you must first master this escape technique to an incomparably proficient level. See the suspicion in Kakashi's gaze. Third generation reminded. Don't forget, that kid can combine water style and swordsmanship to develop a new swordsmanship. Do you think his attainment in water style is low? Yes. After being reminded by third generation, Kakashi also felt that it might not be too low. And this also means that Shiyu must have mastered the amazing water style ninjutsu, but he didn't use it at all when he fought against himself before. That kid, not serious yet, he pushed himself to the point where he even used Reikiri before he got serious about it, but if Shiyu got serious about it, what would his fighting power be? Thinking of this, Kakashi began to breathe faster. It's hard to believe. Noticing that Kakashi's face had changed, third generation said, it's my Konoha's good fortune to have such a junior kid appear in Konoha. But no matter how talented you are, it's actually just a flower in a greenhouse. It still needs a little practice. Speaking of which, third generation took out a document. You guys are going to perform the first mission tomorrow. Ordinary low-level missions, I don't think they are suitable for those 3 brats. Look at this mission. Kakashi took out the paper in the information bag and glanced at the information on it. Then he asked with some uncertainty, Master third generation, are you serious? Ah, of course. After all, let the children experience a little bit. Well, since third generation has decided so, then Kakashi can't make him change. Yes, I know what to do. After speaking, Kakashi left the office of third generation, and after Kakashi left, third generation looked at Shiyu in the crystal ball, who had already returned to the room and was sound asleep. With that tired look, it could be seen that he went to practice. So talented and working so hard, if everyone is like Shiyu, then Konoha will become so powerful. At this moment, Danzo of the Root organization was also very surprised when he heard the report of his subordinates being able to compete with Kakashi, although Kakashi certainly didn't try his best, but being able to force Kakashi Reikiri out shows how terrifying this kid's strength is. It seems that it is impossible for ordinary ninjas to complete the task. And now that Hiruzen arranges Kakashi to guard, it is even more difficult to succeed. It seems that I can only put this matter aside for a while, and wait for the right opportunity to make a move. When Shiyu woke up the next morning, he glanced at the time. According to the situation in the original book, Kakashi will definitely be late. So, just sleep for a few more hours. When Shiyu got enough sleep and got up to go to the meeting place, Kakashi was so gloomy that neither Sasuke nor Naruto dared to speak. They waited here for several hours, but Shiyu hadn't come yet. Even Sasuke was a little annoyed that such a waste of time was wasting so much time. When Shiyu arrived and saw that the faces of the 3 were all black, even Naruto seemed very angry. Shiyu was a little confused. Kakashi is here so early. Thought he was going to be late. It seems that the original can't be completely believed. After staring at Shiyu for more than 10 seconds, Kakashi said, okay, since the 3 of you are all here, let's start. Your first job as a genin is to escort. Shiyu was surprised. Escort? Our 7th squad's first mission is a sea-level mission, escorting a bridge builder from the Land of Waves back to the Land of Waves. Because of some special reasons, the enemy may intercept him. We need to protect his safety and send him back to the Kingdom of Waves safely. After listening to the general content of the mission, neither Naruto nor Sasuke felt much. Thought this was just normal. However, only Shiyu knows that this is abnormal, too abnormal. Class 7 in the anime has taken on a lot of D-level tasks, such as weeding, catching pets, and the like. Been busy for over a month. How come I have to escort Dasna home directly? Is it because of my own reasons that caused a certain impact? However, the person we need to escort has just arrived in Konoha, and it seems that he still needs to rest in Konoha for a day to talk about some materials needed to build the bridge. So we have to wait for him for a day before we can start tomorrow. Okay, that's basically it for today, let's all go back. Get ready to leave on time at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. When it came to being on time, Kakashi glanced at Shiyu. I hope no one will be late tomorrow, otherwise I won't be waiting for more than 21 people. He stared at Shiyu. Do you think anyone will be late tomorrow? Shiyu shook his head helplessly. No. Fine, that's it, Kakashi said and disappeared. The 3 of them can only leave separately. Shiyu is helpless, who knows that Kakashi will be on time, and this late king will also be on time. Shiyu. After Sasuke left, Naruto suddenly stopped Shiyu, who was also about to leave. Shiyu looked back at Naruto. What's wrong? Naruto rubbed his hands in embarrassment. Well, Shiyu, can you teach me some ninjutsu again? Ah, of course, it's okay if you have difficulties, I'll just ask casually. Naruto's desire to become stronger seems to be stronger than in the original book, and at the same time, he is smarter and knows to ask himself for help. But it's normal, I taught him the shadow clone technique before. And as a kid, who wouldn't want to learn a few more ninjutsu? During the battle for the bell, Naruto saw Sasuke unleash fire style again. Shiu's amazing swordsmanship seems to be only one shadow clone by himself. Compared with his two companions, Naruto felt that his battle was nothing more than days. Shiu looked at Naruto and thought for a moment, and at this time Naruto was very disturbed. Fortunately, Shiu didn't think too long, just thought for a few seconds before answering, okay. Yes. Really, that's great, Shiu, you are so sweet, thank you so much. Naruto rushed up and grabbed Shiu's neck. Okay, if you are grateful, you don't need it. We are also companions, so it's okay to help each other. Let's go. Find a hidden place and teach you ninjutsu. Naruto's chakra is of the wind attribute. Shiu currently masters only one wind attribute ninjutsu, Yinshin Beast Wave Palm. This wind-style ninjutsu is not strong, but it is definitely very practical, consumes less chakra, and its power is not bad. If Naruto can master it, it will also add a little attack method. At the same time, it is more like a ninja. Otherwise, you will not know any ninjutsu all day long, and just a shadow clone and a rubbing ball are too cheap. Although rubbing balls directly rubs into gods, etc. Rub the balls. Shiu frowned. With his current level of chakra control, it's not difficult to make a ball. Maybe give it a try. When we came outside Konoha village, we didn't go as far as the waterfall this time. We just found a wood at random and started. Shiu first taught Naruto wind style. Issues of mudra and how to mobilize chakra, Shiu told Naruto. Although the current Naruto has not yet mastered the nature transformation of the wind attribute, but as a Naruto who is born with the wind attribute chakra. Chakra itself has the power of the wind attribute. Nature transformation can only be regarded as professional training, and only after mastering it can the full power of a ninjutsu truly explode. But it doesn't affect anything. Have you understood the order of sealing and the control of chakra? Naruto nodded. Understood. Then try it. Naruto started to try for the first time, but he understood the control of chakra, but it was not so easy to master it. Failed to release ninjutsu for the first time. The second time was also a failure. 5 times in a row, Naruto couldn't let out even a breeze. Naruto himself was a little discouraged, but Shiu was not in a hurry. While in my mind, I asked the great sage. According to my idea, calculate the Rasengan. Great sage. In calculus. 10%, 20%, 30%. According to Shiu's situation and the level of control over chakra, it is not difficult to calculate a Rasengan. Shiu watched Naruto's progress in wind style. Beast Wave Palm is really slow. He opened his mouth and said, Naruto makes some shadow clone, let the shadow clone practice like you. Shadow clone. Shadow clone. Shadow clone can be said to be a plugin for cultivation. Let shadow clone participate in the cultivation, and if you gain insights from shadow clone cultivation, you will also get it with the release of shadow clone. It will get twice the result with half the effort. There is also this method. Naruto was suddenly excited. Thousands of shadow clone appeared. Looking at the densely packed shadow clone, it is worthy of being the protagonist. Shiu finally saw the grand occasion of going up to the previous avatar to practice together. It was slow progress before, so once thousands of shadow clones are released, even if the speed of slow progress is superimposed, it will directly become a rocket. Naruto successfully released wind style, Beast Wave Palm, looking at the marks left by the wind blade on the tree trunk. Shiu nodded. Very good, I'll teach you a new hat next. It can be used without a seal. No printing required. Naruto froze for a moment. Is there such a ninjutsu? This technique is called. Congratulations to host for mastering new skills, Rasengan. Rasengan. Saying that, Shiu opened his hand, and instantly used chakra in his hand, and formed a Rasengan almost in the blink of an eye. Looking at the blue ball of light in Shiu's hand, Shiu hit the tree with one blow. Immediately, the big tree was directly broken in the middle. Seeing this power, Naruto couldn't bear it anymore. I must learn this. Shiu smiled. Okay, here's to teach you. Remember, the first step is rotation, the second step is power, and the third step is fixed maintenance. This is Shiu's summary. Naruto was confused, but although Shiu couldn't understand what he said, after the demonstration, Naruto knew exactly what he should do. As for the balloons and balls needed for practice, let Naruto get them by himself. And Shiu also needs to continue to practice the control of chakra. It reached 20 meters yesterday, and now, while maintaining chakra's highly condensed state, the thickness remains the same and the length has been extended to 35 meters. That's what Shiu needs to do today. But according to Shiu's situation, it can be done a few hours before lunch. Basically, after Naruto got the balloons and balls needed for practice, it was already lunchtime. And Shiu's practice has finally come to an end. While maintaining the high density of chakra, it has been able to extend to the position of 37 meters. Shiu smiled. Great Sage, it's all right now. Great Sage. It is predicted that chakra control has reached the standard, and even the host exceeds expectations, reducing the calculation time. It can also reduce the calculation time, so Shiu feels the need to continue. Great Sage. There is no need to continue to enhance chakra control. Chakra control has exceeded the expected level, and the calculation time for continued enhancement and reduction is also limited. All right, in this case, there is no need to continue wasting time on this. Shiu is here for lunch. I brought you instant noodles specially, you can choose which flavor you like. Forehead. Shiu turned his head and looked at Naruto, who had already set up matches and brought out a small pot to boil hot water. Is this guy coming to camp? But forget it, boiled instant noodles seem to be very good. After simply eating Naruto's noodles, I have to say that the taste of the instant noodles cooked by Naruto is indeed different. It seems that Naruto spends a lot of time cooking instant noodles on weekdays. Shiu, I saw you were using chakra to turn into silk thread before you, what are you doing? Train chakra's controls. Chakra's control. What does training this do? Shiu smiled. The stronger the chakra's control ability, the more it will enhance all aspects of ninjutsu. That's right, then I'll try to practice chakra control after I finish the training of Rasengan. The control of chakra is an ability that every ninja must master. Now that Shiu has completed the first step of merging the blood succession limit, chakra's control has reached the requirements. Then the next step is the strength of the escape technique. 2 blood successor boundaries that need to be fused, boil style and ice escape. Their nature transformation power is still not up to the fusion requirements, so the nature transformation power of these 2 escape techniques must be strengthened. Ice escape is okay. Shiu hangs 2 ice escape ninjutsu on the skill bar, and now the enhancement of nature transformation is not small. When Shiu raises the intensity of boil style, I'm afraid Ice Dun will be able to meet the fusion requirements by relying on passive operation. But since it is necessary to increase the strength of boil style, just hang boil style on the skill bar and wait for the passive operation to increase, although it will only take a few days. But if Shiu takes the initiative to cultivate, it may be done in 1 day. There is no need to delay another 2 days. And upgrading the boil style does not necessarily allow you to practice boil style's nature transformation. Practicing boil style's ninjutsu can also enhance boil style's nature transformation. Shiu now masters only 1 boil style ninjutsu, boil style, unparalleled monster power. Although the power is amazing, there are not many opportunities to use this technique. It's good to use as a trump card, but there should be more ways to use boil style. Since you are practicing boil style, you can try to develop several boil style ninjutsu. While practicing, you can enhance the power of boil style's nature transformation and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Boil style also has 2 abilities as a blood follower limit. One is temperature and the other is corrosiveness. The temperature is capable of boiling the chakra, resulting in a massive power boost. In terms of corrosiveness, Shiu thinks that it can also be considered for development. In the original book, Terumi-me, a boil-style skillful mist technique can make Sasuke's Susanoo melt. It can be seen that the corrosiveness of boil style is also quite terrifying. But, a technique like the skillful mist technique, although extremely powerful, has too many disadvantages. One is that it must be in a confined space, otherwise the amazingly corrosive mist will not be able to harm the enemy at all. Secondly, the fog spreads too slowly. If the enclosed space is very large, it will not be able to completely fill the space in a short time. At the same time, although the effect of corrosion is strong, it cannot be seen immediately. Shiyu felt a little not strong enough. Great Sage, what do you think if Boil Style is integrated into Rasengan? Shiyu looked at Naruto, who was trying to burst the balloon, and Shiyu asked the Great Sage in his heart. Great Sage, it is theoretically possible, but what host thinks is to use the corrosiveness of Boil Style to cause damage to the enemy in the most direct way. Rasengan is integrated into Boil Style, and the burst of instantaneous corrosive gas may even damage the host. Can I not avoid the attack of my chakra? Great Sage, corrosiveness can be avoided, but the impact of high-temperature explosions, the host cannot be immune, and the probability of hitting the enemy with a long-range throw is very low. It turns out that this is the case, then Boil Style is really not suitable for integration into Rasengan Chen. Great Sage, the analysis result is most suitable for the use of host's Boil Style, which is to integrate it into the weapon. Arms. Shiyu looked down at the ninja sword Zagetsu on his waist, and pulled Zagetsu out directly. How does this come together? Although the material of Zagetsu is special, but the corrosive boiling okay can't stand it for a long time. Don't let the enemy be fine at that time, and your own knife will be destroyed first. Great Sage, with host's current chakra control ability, it can condense high-density chakra to cover the blade, cover the outer periphery with ordinary chakra, and carry out Boil Style changes on ordinary chakra. The formed Boil Style heat can have high temperature and corrosive properties. With the host's swordsmanship, the lethality is amazing. This is fine. However, Shiyu thinks that it can be changed slightly. The high-density chakra inside can also undergo Boil Style nature transformation, but only the temperature is enhanced, and the ordinary chakra outside strengthens the corrosion. Wouldn't it be even more terrifying in this way? Great Sage, analyzing, estimated feasibility probability 80%. Then let's try to calculate this technique. Calculating. 10%, 20%. The calculation speed is very fast. Shiyu did not expect the calculation speed to be so fast. Shiyu's calculation is complete before Naruto bursts a single balloon over there. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Boil Style Operator Blade of Heat Breath. Boil Style, Blade of Heat Breath, using the meticulous control of chakra, perform Boil Style nature transformation with two different densities of chakra. The first layer of high-density chakra erupts with astonishingly high temperatures, increasing the power of weapons with temperature. The second layer of ordinary chakra produces corrosive gas, which is ineffective for the caster himself, and all other objects will be corroded once touched. When the heat blade hits the enemy, it can also inject heat into the enemy's body. The high-temperature steam will burn the enemy's body and corrode the enemy's flesh and blood. The lethality is astonishing. Look at the introduction. Shiyu suddenly smiled. This power does not seem simple. It can also inject heat at the moment of hitting the enemy. Of course, the amount injected depends on the contact time. However, no matter how long the contact time is, even if it is only for a moment, the enemy who has been severely slashed by himself may not feel any feeling at the hit part at the first time. Afterwards, the corrosive breath can penetrate into the body and cause further damage. This technique, very good. Shiyu pulled out Zangetsu directly, and looked at the pitch-black ninja sword in his hand, the pattern of the sword exuding blue light. One-handed seal. Boil Style, Heat Breath Blade. Comparable. Naruto, who heard the voice, raised his head and looked in Shiyu's direction. The pupils slowly dilated. Shiyu held the ninja sword Zangetsu with one hand, but the heat from the blade was rising slowly. The barking sound was the burst of steam from the knife. Shiyu felt the consumption of chakra. As expected of Boil Style, the chakra consumption speed of this move is indeed quite a lot. And the biggest advantage of this Boil Style move is that it is different from Boil Style's unparalleled strange power, which explodes amazing power in the body. This is an outbreak outside the body. When Shiyu used the Boil Style unparalleled power, he was boiling crazily due to the chakra in his body. So much so that Shiyu is absolutely unable to use other escape techniques in that state. But now it's different. Shiyu can use other escape techniques even while maintaining the Boil Style, Heat Breath Blade. In this way, it greatly increases its combat diversity. CBDD, in the battle, you will not suddenly fall into a passive situation and cannot find a way out of the predicament for a while. Although the activation of the Blade of Heat cannot use the moves of Breath of Water, but the basic swordsmanship can still be used. With Shiyu's level of swordsmanship, even a simple swordsmanship attack can beat Jonin to the ground. Not to mention adding the Blade of Heat breath. Comparable. Seeing the rising steam, Shiyu raised his hand and swung his sword. At the moment of swinging Zangetsu, heat is also released along with Shiyu's slash. As mentioned in the introduction of the skill just now, it can inject heat when it comes into contact with the enemy. But not touching the enemy can also consume chakra to infuse heat. It's just that the slashing wave released in this way has a very limited attack range. Probably just swept away a distance of about 1 meter, and it will immediately dissipate. Raise your hand to point Zangetsu straight ahead, and release the heat breath with all your strength. Accompanied by the injection of chakra, the surging heat appears to sweep straight forward. Although the speed is still relatively slow, isn't this another Chaosha technique? The heat swept across 5 or 6 meters and hit the trunk, and the half of the trunk visible to the naked eye immediately began to melt, directly melted by the terrifying high temperature and corrosive gas. Beep! It collapsed to the ground with a loud bang. Naruto was stunned. What kind of technique is this? Shiyu disarmed the heat breath blade, then looked at Naruto. It's nothing, you continue to practice, I will find a more spacious place to experiment with my newly developed technique. New development. Naruto froze for a moment. When did this guy develop ninjutsu? During the time you left. And how easy is it to develop ninjutsu? This guy developed all his ninjutsu by himself. Naruto's mind is full of doubts now. But at this moment Shiyu has cast body flicker technique and disappeared. Came to a river. Shiyu jumped straight into the water. Pull out the Zangetsu. It is a good choice to practice here. Whether it is to attack trees or stones with heat, the damage to the environment is too great, but it releases heat to water. At most, it is just corroding part of the water. Not much damage. Now that this technique has been successfully developed, Shiyu directly replaced the passive skill 4 to 5 with Boil Style, Heat Breath Blade. In this way, not only can you get 10 times the effect of cultivation, but you can even achieve no consumption. It is also convenient for Shiyu to start his crazy practice next. Turn on Thinking Acceleration. The rest of this afternoon, aim to elevate Boil Style to the level of composite fusion. Ice Dun has been relying on passive operation for a long time, and at most it can reach the fusion level after tonight. In this way, the control of chakra and the strength of the escape technique have all met the requirements. The rest is a question of physique, just about to go out on a mission, and there is nothing else to do when performing the mission. Walking and running can also be regarded as physical exercise. The time to go out to perform tasks is used to enhance physical fitness. When he returned to Konoha, he should have no problems with his physique. This arrangement is perfect. Utilize all the time without delaying things. Start. As Shiyu pulled Zangetsu out and began to frantically wave Zangetsu in the water, a lot of heat rose up. It was clearly a very fast-flowing river, but it seemed to have suddenly turned into a hot spring, and it was still a hot spring. The heat continued to rise. The strength of Boil Style is advancing by leaps and bounds, and the water flow is corroding all the time, and being corroded or boiled at high temperature will make Shiyu chakra consume crazily. Consumption also means the operation of nature transformation. Obviously, Shiyu could feel that the temperature of the blade in his hand became more and more terrifying with the loss of time, and the corrosion effect of Boil Style became more and more amazing. Originally, it was just to avoid damaging the environment, but now it seems that they have found the fastest way to improve by mistake. At this rate, before dark tonight, it should be able to reach the Boil Style nature transformation intensity required by the Great Sage. Shiyu's crazy practice is completely tireless. In this case, the strength of Boil Style is continuously improved. As the evening approached, the voice of the Great Sage sounded. Great Sage. Analysis, the Boil Style of the current host to meet the integration requirements. As this done, Shiyu let out a sigh of relief and released the heat breath blade. Although soaking in the water all afternoon has no effect, it will be uncomfortable after all. No drain on chakra or anything, but drain on Shiyu's spirit. Jumping out of the water, Shiyu stood on the bank looking at the Zangetsu in his hand. Zangetsu was covered by Boyle Styles chakra for an entire afternoon, and the original blue knife pattern seemed to have undergone some changes. The color is not so deep, and there is even a faint reddish light. What's happening here? Shiyu was a little puzzled. But I didn't pay too much attention to it. Put away Zangetsu now. Boyle Styles strength is enough, the rest is Ice Escape. Ice Escape has been on the passive skill bar for more than 2 days. Even if Shiyu does nothing, relying on the passive operation effect of the skill bar until tomorrow morning, it is enough to increase the strength of Ice Escape to the required level. Go back to where Naruto is. Shiyu didn't expect that Naruto also entered the 3rd stage. Rasengan practice. The first step is the balloon, then the water polo, and finally the leather ball. And now Naruto has started training with the ball. Looking at the ball that changed irregularly but didn't explode for a long time, Naruto lay helplessly on the ground and panted heavily. So hard. Shiyu walked to Naruto's side. Okay. Come here today. It's going to be dark, let's go back to the village. Hearing this, Naruto stood up like a carp. Shiyu, you're back. I'm still thinking that if you don't come back, I'll go find you. Well, I'm back. Your cultivation is progressing very fast. Hearing this, Naruto smiled embarrassedly. It's all thanks to your help, otherwise I wouldn't have cultivated so fast. Help yourself. What did I do for myself? The two returned to Konoha village together, just in time for dinner. Shiyu, how about eating ramen together? Hand-pulled noodle. Shiyu refused very righteously, and planned to go straight home. Ramen. My money was squandered by this guy and Sasuke last time. Now Shiyu has no money left. Still eating ramen. Forget it. Go home and grab something to eat in the fridge. Okay, if you don't go, I'll be alone. Shiyu came home and just sat down. I heard a knock on the door. Maybe Naruto is chasing after me again. Shiyu stood up and opened the door. Who? Shiyu-kun, you really live here? Looking at Hinata in front of him, Shiyu was a little puzzled. Is the Hyuga family still letting their young lady run around at this point in time? Hinata, what are you doing? I heard Mr. Shiyu, you are leaving the village for a mission tomorrow, so. Looking at Hinata, who started to blush again without saying a word. Shiyu smiled lightly. Come in and talk. Ah, in. Yes, come in. Are you the guest standing at the door all the time? Hinata breathed a sigh of relief, mustered up the courage to step into Shiyu's small house, and looked at the arrangement of Shiyu's house. What stands out is one word: simple. There are not too many decorations, and it looks empty everywhere, but there are also what should be there. Tables, chairs and benches are all complete, but it always feels strange. Drink some water. Shiyu put a glass of water on the opposite side of the tea table, pointed to the sofa and signaled to Ishin to sit down. Hinata lowered her head to avoid Shiyu's eyes the whole time, and curled up in a corner of the sofa with the water glass Shiyu gave her. What did you want to say just now? Shiyu himself took a sip of water and asked. I want to say, Mr. Shiyu, you are going on a mission. For a while. You probably won't be able to go back to the village. Yes, I'm going to the land of waves, and I'll be there for a few days. Lifting her head, Hinata looked at Shiyu, just in time to meet Shiyu's gaze, and quickly lowered her head again. The flustered Hinata fumbled for something in his pocket, then took out a strange amulet. This is for Shiyu-kun, I hope. Shiyu-kun can complete the task smoothly, and come back safely. Amulet. Shiyu took it and smiled. Thank you, Hinata. At this time, I gave myself an amulet, and I sent it as soon as I got home. Obviously, this little lady may have been waiting nearby for a long time. Shiyu looked at Hinata and leaned over. Seeing Shiyu approaching, Hinata panicked. Get up quickly. It's about time, I'm going home. Okay, I'll see you off. Boom boom boom. Someone knocked on the door again. Shiyu was stunned why there are so many people looking for him today. What's happening here? Hinata is panicked by this situation. If someone sees her and Shiyu alone in a room at this time, then Dad will probably go crazy if he knows it. Who? Shiyu yelled in the direction of the door. Seeing Hinata's hurried look, Shiyu also immediately understood that Hinata is the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan. It's better not to be seen with the two of them alone in the room. After all, the sky is completely dark at this point in time, the moon is dark and the wind is high, lonely men and widows, the explanation may not be able to explain clearly. Open the door. Shiu, it's me. Hearing the voice, Shiu suddenly felt a headache. It was Uncle Masano. Also, Uncle Masano hasn't been here for a long time, and it's almost time to come here every day, and it's really timely. Shiu's living expenses are gone. Mr. Shiu. Hinata called Shiu in a low voice, and asked Shiu what to do with her eyes. The layout of Shiu's house is simple, you can see through it at a glance, and there is no place to hide temporarily. The only place is, go to the bed and hide, wait for Uncle Jungye to leave before you come out. Hinata glanced at Shiu's bed. Go hide on Shiu-kun's bed. How does it feel? Without giving Hinata much time to think, Shiu had already gone to answer the door. Opening the door, Masano smiled at Shiu. Graduated, I heard that you will be on a mission tomorrow. I didn't expect you to leave the village to perform missions just after becoming genin. It seems that Master Hokage is very optimistic about you. The instructor should be Kakashi. That's a very powerful ninja, you must be good. Judging by this posture, I am afraid that there are many positive words. I don't know when I will leave. Shiu peeked at her bed. This little girl must have been hiding for a long time. When Shiu opened his eyes in the morning, he saw a figure curled up in his arms, gently sniffing the smell of the other party's hair. Shiu smiled. This little girl is quite fragrant. Looking at the time, there is still a little time before the collection time, and I am going back to sleep. Who would be willing to just leave such a gentle township? However, maybe Shiu moved too much, and the little girl in his arms woke up. The other party opened his eyes and looked at Shiu's face close at hand. Suddenly startled, too scared to move. Shiu-kun, what are you doing? Looking at Hinata in his arms, Shiu helped the other party recall. You forgot, because Uncle Masano came to look for me suddenly last night, you had no choice but to hide under the covers. But Uncle Masano and I talked for a little while, so you have been hiding in the bed and finally Uncle Masano left. But I saw you fell asleep, so I didn't wake you up. It turned out to be like this. Hinata didn't know why. She fell asleep inexplicably in Shiu's bed, which seemed extraordinarily comfortable. Then why are you sleeping here with me? This is my home. It's just such a bed. If I don't sleep, where else will I sleep? Seeing that Hinata was already hesitating and speechless, Shiu stopped teasing her. Okay, get up. As he said that, Shiu got up first. He knew that Hinata had a thin skin, so he probably felt embarrassed to get up first. After Shiu got dressed, he heard the movement behind him. Turning around, Hinata is already up. He lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Shiu at all, but Shiu came to squat down in front of Hinata. Okay, don't be shy, I'm leaving the village to perform a mission soon. Wait for me in the village. After a while, Hinata hummed lightly. The two walked out the door together. At this time, on the other side of Shiu, a person was holding a key to lock the door, but the other person turned his head sideways and looked in Shiu's direction. Nothing at first sight, but he immediately realized that something was wrong, and suddenly turned his head and stared in the direction of Shiu's door with wide eyes. Shiu patted Hinata's head lightly. Go back. Hinata blushed and ran away quickly. At this time, Shiu stretched his waist. The weather today is very good. Shiu. Someone called me again. Shiu was a little helpless, but immediately realized that something was wrong. Just now he and Hinata came out of the room, maybe. Turn back. Haifeng looked at Shiu with surprise and admiration. I thought that you would become the pride of my Moonlight clan and led my Moonlight clan to rise from Konoha. But now it seems that I underestimated you too much, even the princess of the Hyuga clan was given to you. Shiu quickly waved his hands. No, brother Haifeng, you misunderstood. Misunderstanding. Don't tell me that you two came out of the room early in the morning. What kind of misunderstanding is it? It's understandable that Shiu young people are impulsive, but you'd better not eat some forbidden fruits now, as it will affect growth and development. Shiu was helpless. I didn't. I can understand, but if you do it, you have to be responsible. Don't worry, although our Moonlight clan is not a big clan, we will fully support you in taking down the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan. Hayate gave Shiu a cheer. I like your expression. Gale turned and left. Shiu wanted to stop him, but it was too late. I still have to rush to gather, forget it and resign to fate. If you misunderstand, just misunderstand. In the Hokage building, Shiyu, Sasuke, and Naruto came to the Hokage office led by Kakashi. Get to know the escort target of this mission. His name is Dasna, and he is the target of your mission this time. Escorting him back to the Kingdom of Waves is your mission this time. There is nothing to say about the mission statement. It's just that Mr. Disowner glanced at everyone. Just send these little ghosts to protect me. Dasna seemed a little dissatisfied. Glancing at Kakashi next to him, it's just an adult ninja, the others are little ghosts, can they escort me properly? Third generation laughed without saying a word. Naruto is a little unconvinced, but he is very strong. However, Shiyu directly said, Konoha has powerful ninjas. But can you afford the price for hiring them? Disowner choked on one sentence and didn't know how to refute it. If you give enough rewards for the task, I don't think the village will send us to escort you. After finishing speaking, Shiyu looked at Dasna, so you still have to go. Third generation did not expect that Shiyu would not save face for his employer at all. But there is nothing wrong with what I said, so let alone send an elite genin team like Shiyu, Naruto, and Sasuke with a little money, even an ordinary genin team is still a little bit worse. If it wasn't for another purpose, the third generation wouldn't care about this Disowner mission at all. Okay, let's go if there is no problem. Kakashi spoke. Dasna secretly glanced at the three of Shiyu. I hope that the strength of you three brats can be as powerful as your words. The three of them ignored him, when they came to the entrance of the village. Kakashi suddenly stopped the three of them. This is your first mission, I will give you a piece of advice. Be calm at all times, and don't forget that the strength of your companions is very important. You are a team and you must help each other to complete the task smoothly. Hearing this, Shiyu felt something was wrong. I won't make a move this time, and I won't even appear in your field of vision. I will only observe in secret. Unless you are at risk of death, or you are already dead, I will not speak out. Understand? Sasuke smiled, and it would be better without Jonin to intervene. Relying on his own strength to complete the task is much more challenging than relying on Jonin. And you can prove yourself too. Naruto looked at Kakashi. What does this mean? It means that this task is completely completed by the three of us. Shiyu explained to Naruto in a simple and clear manner. Really? Naruto looked surprised, and Kakashi thought Naruto was scared. But the next second Naruto jumped up excitedly, great. I will prove that I am a qualified Konoha shinobi player. Leave this mere sea-level task to me. Seeing Naruto's appearance, Kakashi was speechless. Well, I don't need to worry at all. Wait, you don't want to use my life to train your Konoha ninjas? Kakashi looked at Dasna, who protested. As Shiyu said, the money you give is just to ask Genin to protect you. I am Jonin, it's not up to you to decide whether or not I shoot or not. Dasna, who was speechless by Kakashi's words, could only grit his teeth helplessly. There is no way that the country is too poor, and the money he can spend to hire ninjas is all his savings. The rest is money to buy materials for building bridges. Dasna could only sigh silently. Shiyu glanced at Dasna, although he had nothing to do with building bridges, but this guy's idea was still very good. Help if you can. Then let's start the mission. Kakashi disappeared immediately after speaking. Shiyu just opened his mouth before he could ask Kakashi another thing. Seeing that the other party walked so simply, it was obvious that they wanted to leave this issue to them to handle themselves. The first problem with teamwork on a mission is not the enemy, nor how the mission should be planned. 2. The three of us should elect a captain. Shiyu spoke directly to Naruto and Sasuke. Hearing this, Naruto didn't think too much, but Sasuke looked at Shiyu. Do you want to be the captain? HMPH. Although Shiyu is stronger than Sasuke, Sasuke admits this, but admitting does not mean admitting defeat. He won't obey Shiyu's orders. No, I don't have much interest in the captain or something. If you like it, you can be it. Unexpectedly, Shiyu would refuse. This answer made Sasuke stunned for a moment and then said, I don't want to be some kind of captain either. The two looked at Naruto. Naruto shook his head frantically. Me, can I? Seeing Naruto's silly look, Sasuke patted his head helplessly. Forget about making you the captain, we probably don't even know how we died. Having said that, Sasuke glanced back at Shiyu. It's up to you. You sure? Shiyu asked back, aren't you good at being yourself? Sasuke smiled faintly. I know my strengths and weaknesses very well. I'm not suitable to be a captain. Your personality is more suitable than mine. Since Sasuke has said so, then Shiyu will not refuse. Kakashi, who secretly watched the three of them, saw Shiyu's lustful tricks, and successfully hooked Sasuke into it. Perhaps Sasuke also saw that Shiyu was deliberately refusing, but after empathy, Sasuke first of all was not suitable and secondly did not want to, and finally chose not to fight. In this way, contradictions and conflicts are avoided, otherwise how could Sasuke compromise so quickly with his arrogant appearance? This first level, it is a perfect pass. A team can have many voices, but one person must make a decision. And now this problem is solved by Shiyu in the first place. Kakashi nodded secretly. Shiyu's performance was more perfect than he imagined. Not only has strong strength, but also has a smart mind, and at the same time knows how to observe the character of his companions and use them. Then it's decided that Shiyu will be our captain. As Naruto said, Sasuke shrugged, as if Naruto had participated in the discussion. Okay, then let's go. Sasuke, you go ahead. Naruto, you follow Datsuna, I'm at the end. Why should I? Sasuke said in the middle, suddenly froze for a moment, then closed his mouth, and walked directly forward. Hearing Shiyu's order, Sasuke's immediate reaction was still to resist. After all, no one can order him Uchiha Sasuke. But after regaining his senses, Sasuke also knew that Shiyu's configuration represented his approval. The front of the team is responsible for opening the way, and is also the first person to deal with danger. Putting him in such a dangerous position at the front was not aimed at targeting him, on the contrary, Sasuke felt Shiyu's recognition of himself. This actually made Sasuke happy, so Sasuke just shut up halfway through the conversation. Naruto doesn't understand what's the use of Shiyu's arrangement, it's just a walk, why is it so troublesome? A group of 4 set off. Shiyu was placed at the end of the team, always observing all the movements in front of him. At the same time, beware of the situation behind you, which can be regarded as the most fortunate position. But it's not too far away from Konoha, Shiyu can take a moment to think about it. Yesterday, Boil Style was successfully raised to the level of Compound Fusion, and the passive skill bar was running last night. Bingdun also reached the fusion level this morning. Both chakra control and chakra attributes fulfilled the requirement. The only thing left now is the question of physique. Of course, although the requirements have been met, the 2 skills of Ice Done, Shiyu, can be cancelled for a while. However, the ninjutsu of Ice Escape, Ice and Snow World can be temporarily removed from the passive skill list. Ice Escape, Frozen Moment. This ninjutsu can only be enhanced. What Shiyu needs now is to increase the range of freezing. As for the strength of the power of Ice and Snow, it will also increase with the enhancement of Water Style. So Ice Escape, Frozen can be hung on the skill bar at all times. If there is a vacant skill slot, it will be replaced with advanced physical skills. At the same time, the 2 Boil styles are also directly reduced by 1, and only 1 Boil style, Heat Breath Blade, is retained. Hanging it on the skill bar is also to continuously enhance the power of the Blade of Heat. The vacant space is naturally equipped with high-level physical skills. That's 4 skill columns. The skills of the other 3 skill columns remain unchanged, namely Chakra Refining Technique, Basic Vision Illusion Technique, and Advanced Physical Technique. In this way, it means that there are 3 advanced physical skills at the same time. If you encounter a battle, replace 2 of the body skills with the Breath of Water Sword skill immediately. In this way, you will be able to obtain the state of no consumption of water style, stamina, and water-breathing swordsmanship. The help for Shiyu is the greatest. It seems that when we have to make a skill configuration for different situations of PvE and PvP. During the battle, let the Great Sage help to switch. Great Sage. Yes, the sun is scorching hot. Sasuke, Naruto, and Shiyu are ninjas. Although they feel a little hot, they are still within an acceptable range. Also not too tiring. It's not enough to go to Dazina, and you need to take a break after walking for 2 hours. It was only at this time that Dazna slowly felt the extraordinariness of these 3 little devils. He has better physical strength than an adult like him, especially Naruto and Shiyu have no sweat on their foreheads at all. And the other brat, who was a bit cold, just sweated a little. As expected of Konoha's ninja, although he is just a kid, he is completely different from ordinary kid. After walking for 3 or 4 hours, Shiyu finally noticed something was wrong. In such weather, there are actually 2 puddles of water on both sides of the road, which is simply an idiotic disguise. When Shiyu noticed something was wrong on the road, Kakashi in the rear also noticed. In such hot weather, there are actually 2 puddles of water beside the road. It's hard not to attract attention, not to mention where the water came from, but it's unreasonable that the 2 puddles of water haven't been evaporated in this weather. Can you find it? Little ghosts. Although Shiyu is strong in combat, Sasuke and Naruto are not weak either. But when you really face the enemy, what kind of reaction will you dare to make a move? At the same time, it is hard to say whether you will notice these details. Seeing that the group was about to walk into the enemy's ambush trap, Kakashi's hand involuntarily grabbed towards the ninja bag. Bang bang. Suddenly, 2 ninjas jumped out of the water beach on both sides of the road. The opponent waved his weapon and launched an attack immediately. And the target is directed at Sasuke and Naruto. The position of the 2 solves Naruto and Sasuke, then only Shiyu needs to be dealt with. Even if Shiyu is not killed, another person can also kill Dasna to complete the assassination task. When the figures of the 2 appeared, Sasuke was stunned for a moment but immediately reacted. He took out kunai directly, and kicked Duba at the same time. Sasuke's reaction was good, and Kakashi nodded. On the other side, Naruto froze in place, which was a stress response. When encountering an unexpected situation, the body is completely out of control. This kind of situation is quite bad when facing the enemy. But it's the first time. It's also understandable. Kakashi looked at Shiyu. From the moment the enemy appeared, until the enemy attacked Naruto Sasuke, Kakashi had been observing Shiyu's situation. And Shiyu's performance surprised Kakashi, and he didn't respond at all. Calm. It doesn't even have any effect on breathing. Obviously Shiyu had noticed the existence of these 2 guys long ago, so he didn't panic at all. Seeing that Naruto couldn't move, Shiyu directly raised his hand and threw a kunai. Whoosh! There was a cracking sound in the air instantly. Immediately afterwards, this person was directly penetrated by kunai. Seeing this scene, Kakashi's mouth and Kakuzu twitched slightly. Shiyu's dizziness was a little scary. It's just that throwing kunai can actually have this kind of penetrating power. One can imagine how pervert Shiyu's power is. A Chunin was killed. On the other side, Sasuke repelled another Chunin who came to assassinate him. But it didn't kill the opponent. After the opponent fell to the ground, he got up quickly and found that his companion had already fallen to the ground. The opponent was a little flustered but did not waste time, but continued to attack Sasuke. Once it stops, it will be a dead end, and there is still a chance of survival. Sasuke waved his kunai to block the opponent's attack. It seemed that he couldn't take it down for a while, and Shiyu didn't continue to make a move. Dasna, who was on the side, was startled. Why are there 2 people here? His questions went unanswered. Shiyu came to Naruto's side and patted Naruto's shoulder. Everyone has a first time, and if they didn't do well enough, next time just make sure it won't be as bad as this time. Hearing this, Naruto, who was originally gloomy, suddenly relaxed a lot. He looked at the guy who was shot and killed by Shiyu, still blaming himself for not being able to move just now. As a ninja, such a situation should not happen. Bang bang. On the other side, Sasuke also took down another Chunin. Although the opponent is a Chunin is just a ninja level, and does not necessarily represent strength. Sasuke trapped the opponent's hands and feet, making the opponent completely immobile. Looking up, he looked at Shiyu. What to do with this guy? Leave it to you to decide. Shiyu hands over the choice to Sasuke. And Sasuke glanced at the other enemy who had been killed on the other side, and suddenly his heart was overwhelmed. Raising his hand and waving kunai, he directly cut the guy's neck and killed him. Sasuke's face is not very good looking when he kills for the first time. Kakashi, who was watching secretly, sighed silently. Shiyu's choice is correct. Let Sasuke and Naruto pass this level as soon as possible, which will be of great help to their future ninja journey. Okay, let's move on. Shiyu was very calm with no waves. But Naruto and Sasuke are not at peace now. This is what it feels like to kill, and this is what it feels like to face an enemy who wants to kill you. The hearts of both of them began to turmoil. But Shiyu believes that the two will be able to adjust to this state soon. After all, they are the protagonists of this world. Dasna looked at Shiyu, who was calm and composed from the beginning to the end. It seems that this kid has killed someone for the first time. The previous shot was also the same. The other guy had a fight, but he just threw a hidden weapon and killed the opponent. The strength is obviously the strongest among the three little ghosts. After discovering this, Dasna involuntarily approached Shiyu a lot. When a group of people left, Kakashi's figure appeared next to the two Chunins who had just died. Looking at the bloody mouth pierced by one of them. It really is a terrifying force. Quickly be ruthless. It seems that this is not the first time Shiyu has killed someone. However, the test for you this time is not just that simple. The third generation is going to use the formidable Renren as a whetstone for Shiyu to see how sharp Shiyu's sharp edge is. It still takes a few days to go from Konoha to the Land of Waves. Since being assassinated once by two Chunin, the next day or so seemed to be uneventful. And during the rest at night, Naruto didn't sleep, but crazily holding a ball without knowing what he was doing. Shiyu just smiled slightly at this. Money. It seems that Naruto also feels the pressure and wants to become stronger as soon as possible, but haste makes waste. But since Naruto stayed up late to practice, Shiyu also felt the need to hurry up. In the evening, physical training is also carried out continuously. Seeing Shiyu's crazy training is exactly the same as Might Guy's crazy master-student pair. Kakashi, who was watching secretly, smiled. No wonder this kid's power is so terrifying. Doesn't the daily practice include these? However, with this kid's physique, how did he manage to continue his journey the next day after practicing like this? Ordinary people don't have such a strong recovery ability. When Shiyu et al. Were resting at night, Teodi also got the news. It failed, 2 Chunin against 3 Genin brats, and they can still fail. Interesting. I'd like to see the difference between the 3 little ghosts of Konoha. If I don't kill you, it's just Genin with 3 Konohas. You don't need to do it yourself. Leave it to me. Ban knelt in front of Zabuzan and spoke slowly. However, if he didn't want to cut it, he directly grabbed the beheading sword beside him. No. He directly rejected Bai's proposal. In Konoha's Genin this time, there is a kid named Uchiha Sasuke. People of the Uchiha clan, even corpses can be sold for a good price on the black market. Wouldn't it be possible to sell them for more money if they caught them alive? So this time, even if there are 3 Genin, if you don't kill them, you have to do it yourself. Shiyu and others are on their way to the Land of Waves. Walk for another 3 hours, and you should be able to see the Land of Waves. Shiyu looked at the map and said. Both Naruto and Sasuke finally breathed a sigh of relief. This is almost the end of the task. For a C-level mission, encountering a ninja assassination halfway through is considered an excess. But fortunately, within the acceptable range, there should be no enemies next. Shiyu slowly put away the map, and soon arriving in the Land of Waves means that the man is about to appear. Just don't know when the other party will show up. Keep going. Shiyu secretly observed the surroundings, and suddenly Shiyu found that this place seemed to be somewhat similar to the scene in the original book. It should be here. While Shiyu was thinking, suddenly a sound of breaking wind came rapidly. Shiyu immediately yelled, "Squat!" to Naruto and Sasuke. Turning around, a black phantom was rapidly approaching behind him. And Kakashi, who was hiding in the dark at this moment, also frowned. This is... Boom! Shiyu grabbed the flying beheading knife with one hand. Naruto and Sasuke looked at Shiyu, and when they heard the voice for the first time just now, they also reacted. Someone launched an attack towards them, and the sound of breaking the wind was so shocking, the hidden weapon must have been powerful. Shiyu asked them to squat down. They thought Shiyu would dodge too. But I didn't expect Shiyu to just stand there, and single-handedly use the hidden weapon of the opponent. No, it should be said to be an extremely heavy and powerful force. So directly caught. Kakashi, who was observing secretly, was also stunned, looking at Shiyu with the corners of his mouth twitching slightly. How good the dynamic vision is, and how terrifying the physical strength is, to be able to stand on the spot and reach out to directly catch such a heavy knife. Who is littering? Doesn't everyone know about the care? Kakashi in the dark almost fell from the tree. He never dreamed that Shiu would say such words in the first time. And behind Shiu, jumping from the tree, he should have stepped on the beheading knife that was chopped on the tree, and the peach field that appeared shikly will not be cut again. Now his face is ashen. As soon as he threw the big knife, he used the body flicker technique to fly directly to the tree in front. Now the person jumped down and the knife is gone. Zabujan, who landed on the ground, heard Shiu's words, and immediately became angry. The brat, are you joking? Both Sasuke and Naruto noticed the movement behind him, and Shiu turned his head slowly. Dasna on the side swallowed silently, watching Shiu hold a weapon that was taller than others, but acted like it was light. I was crazily complaining in my heart, how much power is this kid? It's a pity that I don't have to work and move bricks with such great strength. It's not bad to help me build bridges. Is that the knife you threw? Shiu looked at the Momochi Zabuchin that appeared, although the real appearance was somewhat different from the anime. But the general shape is exactly the same, there is no change. Boy, what's your name? Dowdy Zai Yuzan's cold voice sounded, and the murderous aura revealed in the voice made people shudder. Sasuke and Naruto suddenly felt a lot of pressure. Cold sweat broke out involuntarily on his forehead. But Shiu looked indifferent, even slightly angry. You threw me with a ninja knife. Hearing CBCJ Shiu's question, I feel a tightness in my chest. This kid, is there something wrong with his brain? Can't you see that I'm here to kill them? Yes, so what? Swish. In an instant, a black shadow flashed past. There was a drop of cold sweat on Zabujan's forehead, and at the same time, he slowly thought about looking to the right. The big tree beside him was suddenly chopped off in the middle. Boom. The big tree collapsed slowly, and the beheading sword that did not cut off was stabbed obliquely on the ground 5 meters behind him. I never thought that this little brat, who looked thin and weak, would have such astonishing strength. The power to grab the beheading sword he threw out with one hand just now is not at all possessed by ordinary genin. Who are you? Konoha genin, Moonlight Shiu. Never heard of this name. But looking at Shiu's aura, this is not like genin. Interesting, a brat of your age has such great power. Very good. Your life, today I will not kill you, Mist Shinobi. Take your own life. What a breath. Shiu. Naruto leaned towards Shiu. Let's do it together, you don't do it alone. This guy looks strong. Powerful. Of course it is strong, this is the existence that Kakashi almost stumbled if he didn't cut the peach ground. But let Naruto and Sasuke take action, but it is not helping. Shiu shook his head. No, leave it to me, this is not an enemy you can deal with. After saying that, Shiu stepped towards the direction of no more chopping. At this time, Naruto wanted to step forward, but a hand behind him stopped him. This enemy is indeed not something you two can deal with now. This voice is Kakashi. Looking back, Naruto looked at Kakashi who appeared. Mr. Kakashi, who is this guy? The other party said just now that Mist Shinobi is Mist Shinobi's elite Jonin, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Sasuke frowned. 7 ninja swordsmen. Ah, that's right, the elite assassination unit that directly belongs to Mizukage, and the guy in front of me killed all the candidates of the same period when he was genin. The strength of the promoted Chunin cannot be underestimated. As he spoke, Kakashi's eyes became serious. Even if it's me, I'm afraid it won't be easy to defeat him. Hearing this, Naruto became anxious. Then Mr. Kakashi, why don't you make a move and leave Shiu alone? This mission is a test for you. I said that I will only take action unless your life is in danger, or if you are already dead. Naruto gritted his teeth and clenched his fists hard. Naruto now feels as if he is useless. Obviously met the enemy, but Shiu can only fight alone. Sasuke on the side felt the same way, feeling extremely aggrieved and helpless. Walking towards Shiu who is not chopping again, looking at Zanbazu who has raised the beheading sword again. Mist Shinobi endured the sword and 7 people, jumped to the ground and never cut. Zai Yuzan looked at Shiu coldly while holding the beheading knife. Do you know me, Grandpa? Of course, such a famous name, I've heard it before. Very good. It is your honor to die under my hands, said Zabujan and noticed the ninja knife on Shiu's back. Oh. It seems that you are also a ninja who can use swordsmanship. Well, let me show you how terrifying Kurigaku's swordsmanship is. Compete with yourself in swordsmanship. Shiyu grabbed the black sword behind his waist with his backhand Zagetsu, Lu. Instantly pull out. Once the black blade appeared, Zabujan was taken aback for a moment. Black knife. Such a knife is not common. Zangetsu. Shiyu said coldly, while gently raising the Zangetsu in his hand. Hearing that he would not be beheaded again, he smiled, beheading with a big sword. Notifying each other of the ninja sword's name, this is the process of a swordsmanship duel. The two stared at each other. Suddenly, two gusts of wind spread out at the same time, and Shiyu and Zabujan rushed out at the same time. Quickly swept towards the other side. Zangetsu and the beheading sword collided suddenly in the next second. Clang, zzz. The blade collided with sparks, and the powerful storm spread and swept away. The weight of Zabujan holding the big sword itself has an advantage. At the same time, from the perspective of age, Zabujan has an absolute advantage in strength. Even a duel of swordsmanship is not suitable for the same. But Shiyu chose the most straightforward method under Kakashi's surprised eyes. It's a frontal collision. The black sword Zangetsu in Shiyu's hand is too slender compared to the beheading sword. But when the two collided, everyone was surprised. The Zangetsu held by Shiyu with one hand unexpectedly resisted the frontal slash of the two-handed saber. The sparks that burst out from the friction between the blade and the blade continued to emerge. How can it be? If he didn't cut him, he would be shocked. Shiyu, at his age, still uses this kind of ninja sword, so how could he be his opponent? Monster-like wrist strength. Kakashi also shook his head helplessly and smiled wryly. Naruto was quite excited. Come on, Shiyu. Get rid of him. This guy, how do you usually cultivate? Sasuke didn't understand why Shiyu's strength was so amazing at the same age. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that you, Genin, have such amazing wrist strength. It seems that you are born with infinite strength. Now this is the only explanation that makes sense, and I am a little envious of Biyuzan, such a talented brat. It is too cheap in cultivation. Misunderstood, but Shiyu has no intention of explaining. It has been more than a day since I left Konoha, and there are 3 advanced physical skills in the passive skill bar at the same time, which made Shiyu's physique improve by leaps and bounds. Now Shiyu also wants to try how much his strength has increased in this day. The empty left hand suddenly grasped the handle of the knife, holding the knife with both hands. The moment Shiyu held the knife in both hands, Zabuzi's eyelids jumped wildly. He was able to withstand Shiyu's strength before, but now he can't stand it at all. The moment Shiyu exerted force with his hands, the veins in his arms suddenly popped up, and his eyes were instantly red and bloodshot. The blue veins on his forehead didn't have time to bulge. Shiyu directly shook them away in the next second. Hush! Shiyu wields the black sword Zangetsu. Passing across the air lightly, a gust of strong wind whizzed out immediately. Seeing Zabujan, who retreated 5 or 6 meters before slowly stabilizing his figure, Shiyu rushed over at a high speed. Come again. The black sword Zangetsu looks slender and has no sense of power at all, but in Shiyu's hands, the power attribute is directly reported at this moment. Clang, clang, clang. Shiyu slashed frantically, pressing every step of the way without giving Zabucho any time to breathe. And Shiyu's crazy behavior also stunned Kakashi. There is no swordsmanship to talk about, it is pure violence output. He didn't tell you any skills at all. Shiyu knew that his sword skills were extremely exquisite, but he didn't want your proudest strength to defeat you. Seeing Zabujan holding up the beheading knife to defend in a panic, Kakashi suddenly felt that this guy was a bit miserable. But at Shiyu's age, how did he cultivate his strength to such an extent? Didn't this kid go all out when he fought against him before? Thinking of this, Kakashi feels incredible. Boom. Sudden, an exceptionally crisp cracking sound sounded. The blade of the beheading sword was directly broken, and Kakashi gasped as he saw the flying fragments of the blade. This has to be so powerful that it can directly shatter the opponent's blade. Bang, bang, bang. After 5 or 6 slashes in a row, he jumped away without slashing, and opened the distance with Shiyu. Shiyu also didn't pursue immediately. Standing there looking at the unscathed black knife Zangetsu in his hand, the special metal used every day is too hard, and there is no damage at all. It seems that I have to thank Tiantian when I go back. This Zangetsu is too good. On the other side, Buzan stared wide-eyed, looking at the big beheading knife in his hand that was full of gaps. It is completely unbelievable that the beheading sword will be shattered like this. Although the blade did not break directly, the edge of the blade either curled or collapsed. Look at Shiyu again, he is obviously just a teenage kid. How can there be such power? This is simply a monster in human form. Boy! As soon as the voice sounded, Shiyu suddenly raised his head, and rushed towards Buzan with a stride. Zangetsu in his hand did not slash at Zabujan this time with a violent gesture, the sword aimed directly at Zabujan's chest and stabbed. No more chopping and raising the beheading sword horizontally, ready to suppress Shiyu's Zangetsu. However, in the next second, Shiyu raised the blade slightly, flying the blade that was no longer cut, and then directly slashed towards the arm that was no longer cut. If he didn't slash at this moment, he would be even more stupefied. Even if he couldn't compare with strength, this kid's swordsmanship unexpectedly completely defeated him. One strike, picking up his own knife with one blow. The swordsmanship that I am proud of is not worth mentioning in front of this kid. Swish, blood slid down Zangetsu's blade. It keeps dripping down. Shiyu was a little surprised to see Zabuja, who abandoned his sword at the last moment to avoid the fatal wound. Can he react to this? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.